A 2-0 start in Bloomington, Indiana makes football at IU that much more sweet this season, and the Hoosiers looking to build momentum in week 3, and here they come at Memorial Stadium. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Marathon. Out of Conference USA, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers to take on the Indiana Hoosiers for the 5th time in this series. Welcome to the booth here at Memorial Stadium with the Iowa defensive lineman Anthony Herron. I'm Lisa Byington. We have Crystal Rich on the sideline with us as well. Well, I hope you have your brats close by, your water close by, adult, but whatever you're eating or drinking and watching us, because you're not going to have a whole lot of time to get up and get the food and drink because these offenses like to move.
They are going to be in attack mode, both with physicality and schematically. Overall, I think the question of today is whether or not you're applying pressure or feeling pressure, because each of these teams wants to get after it.
We have the graphic and the time to prove it. Both of these offenses inside 2 minutes. That's the average drive length for them so far this year.
It puts a lot on the plate of each quarterback, both Austin Reed and Connor Bazelak. First season, they've been the starter for their respective programs after transferring him. But when it comes down to it, they will each have the goal of making sure they are putting the ball in the end zone as quickly as possible. You look back to last week against Idaho, the first half, 6 drives, no touchdowns for the Hoosiers, but they began to light it up in the second half.
Which means Tom Allen says consistency has been the word of the week, hasn't it, Crystal Rich?
Slow starts can be avoided if you mentally lock in. Focus has been the message from Tom Allen to the Hoosiers to avoid rallying from behind. He said in week 1 he thinks it was just nerves that caused how they performed, but he said he believes his team took Idaho for granted last week, and this week they have been locked in. They have been focused, and their key word, their goal this week is consistency. They want to see that especially from Connor Bazelak as he looks for a closer start.
Yeah, as you had said, Crystal, a much better mindset, says the head coach to us here this week. Liked Wednesday, Thursday, the walkthrough even through Friday. We'll see what translates here on the field at the beginning of this game. And the head coach for Western Kentucky, and a wonderful job that Tyson Helton has done, won 10 of the last 11 games. That UTSA loss was in the conference tournament last year, but look, they are still, as a school, as a program, still looking for that first win against a Big Ten opponent. And I mentioned that this is the 5th meeting here between these two programs. Indiana has taken the first 4 meetings between these two schools, and really it's the last 2 meetings that have been awfully tight, single-digit deficit, and a winning margin, I should say, for Indiana. And going even back to last year, 33-31 was the final score. And the rematch, though these rosters are quite a bit different, we'll get into that as well this year in 2022. Don't forget to download the Fox Weather app. And 80-degree temps, which makes Anthony Herron really excited with the humidity and the heat up here in the booth.
Fortunately, got some fans rolling up here too, because it is cooking out on the field.
Fans, not the human beings, but fans that blow the air up here in the booth for us.
There's definitely been some Lisa Byington fans who've been up here as well.
We have to shoo those away. Yes. It's really embarrassing every game. Indiana won the coin flip. They deferred, so Western Kentucky will receive. It's Michael Matheson. And a touchback here to open things up in Bloomington, Indiana. Western Kentucky, they're going to move, try to get a snap off or a play off in the first 8 seconds if they can. Davion Irvin Poindexter, he's the former Hoosier, graduated in 3 years. He will now take on his former team. Rusty Stats is the center, maybe one of the greatest football names. I'm going to put it up there for this year. What do you think?
I mean, you don't get to record a lot of stats as a center, but when your real name is Donald and you go by Rusty, you anticipate there's some toughness involved there too.
Empty backfield here to set. And to begin with, and immediately a quick out. And Corley makes the first grab, second on the team in terms of receptions. That's his 10th that he's recorded here this year. You look at Austin Reed. They brought him in from the D2 level, won a national championship at West Florida. And if you followed college football in Western Kentucky, you know that WKU's offense last year was off the charts. Bailey Zappi was the quarterback, set all kinds of records, and one of the top offenses in 2021.
The offense operates just slightly differently this season with Austin Reed as the quarterback. They utilize his mobility. It's not necessarily as precise behind center as Bailey Zappi. Got a little more of a gunslinger mentality, as his coaches described.
Out of the shotgun, and again a similar target with Corley making the grab, and a couple of catches here for Malachi Corley on this opening drive, and that one picks up the first down. 6 sacks, third in the Big Ten for this IU defense. Cam Jones is a stud. Aaron Casey getting his time as a starter here this year. That's a little bit different for the Hoosiers defense. And bringing it more inside into the middle of the field. Again, it's Corley now, and he's been the prime target 4 times here already on this drive.
Corley roommates with the quarterback, Austin Reed. So they've been able to get on the same page pretty quickly here for WKU.
That pass play, a pickup of 4, brings up 2nd and 6. Irvin Poindexter with the carry out to about the 45-yard line. And if you're looking for the Northwestern Southern Illinois game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find the game in your area. Indiana, of course, part of the East Division, and a perfect here so far in East Division play. Northwestern, one of those teams in the West Division, looking to rebound after a loss last week. 3rd and 4. Reed out of the gun and gets smothered. He was hawking. There's McCullough, the stud freshman, the local product, with the first sack for Indiana.
One of the things that can be very difficult with this Hoosiers defense is the alignment of the playmakers. McCullough right there lined up over the tight end, but they leave him completely unblocked as the protection slides away. Austin Reed, he's been accustomed to in the first couple of games here, being more athletic than the oncoming rushers. Not going to be the case today.
That's a scary sight when you see Dasan McCullough, 6'5", listed 230, the only open guy you see when you turn around. DJ Matthews Jr. making the fair catch call. He'll do it just about at the 35-yard line.
Reference during the open, pressure will be the word of the day. Are you applying it or are you feeling it?
This Indiana defense stopping Western Kentucky on its first drive, and now the Hoosier offense going to work here for the first time. 57% pass plays, 4th in the Big Ten. Shivers is the starting back. Caleb Murphy, that's a last-second change here for Indiana. Zach Carpenter injured himself in the pregame, and so it'll be Caleb Murphy as the backup center here for Indiana to begin with. Empty backfield and a 5-receiver set. And pressure coming, and so Connor Bazelak had to get rid of it awfully quickly. Connor Bazelak, of course, the transfer from Missouri, and we showed you the Indiana offense from last week, first half, second half. His numbers look a little bit different as well.
Former Southeastern Conference freshman of the year, very talented passer, but has been streaky so far.
Trips to the right, and that's the direction he goes, and he finds his running back, Shivers, who's just about 2 yards shy of picking up the first down. Pickup of 7 on that play. And we got a flag on the far side.
Even if the flag goes the way of the Hoosiers, you can sense their disappointment as they try to race over the football and get their own tempo going.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty added to the dead ball spot. It's 1st and 10. That's
Caleb Oliver, one of their studs. He was, the last time that they played, earned Conference USA Defensive Player of the Week, but not with that kind of play.
Multiple interceptions a couple of weeks back prior to their bye week against Hawaii. This is a defense that loves to take the football away, so you'll see them frequently, even as the ball carrier is contained, raking away at the football.
You saw number 20 come in at the end. 7 interceptions, tied for best in the country. coming into this game. Bazelak, a wide open receiver, and one of his favorites, DJ Matthews Jr., for his 11th catch of the season.
These two squads are like the Spider-Man meme because their approaches on each side of the football are so similar. So anytime they see off coverage, they will quickly get the football into the hands of the slot receiver.
Pickup of 13 on that play. Again to Matthews Jr., who was thinking about throwing it, still looking downfield, and he'll be chased out just about at the 30-yard line.
I wonder if DJ Matthews Jr., he didn't want to hurt his passing statistics. He could have just thrown that away as opposed to running around and extending the play.
He did have Anderson Kobe as his one receiver downfield.
I mean, just throw the ball away. You didn't have to put all that extra effort in.
And it's Bazelak who will keep it on the read option, and then a late hit coming in, and all kinds of flags on that play. Oliver again involved, and he's hot.
Unsportsmanlike for that act.
And we see hats on the field. We see flags on the field.
It's where cooler heads need to prevail for the Hilltoppers. Each team going to their respective sidelines at the moment. So initially, and I think we'll see this frequently today, Connor Bazelak is going to be able to utilize his legs. There, he'd already obviously begun his slide. When you go with the foot first slide as a QB, you're defenseless at that moment. The defense has to lay off Caleb Oliver again. And then some of the teammates coming to the support, to the defense of their QB. He gives a little shove to the face. Probably a bit of a flop from the Hoosiers, but you still have to know you can't do that. Even after picking up the initial penalty, and while you see the mechanics of the officials, the yellow flag initially, same official had already thrown his flag, so that's where the hat comes off, and you use that and throw it as essentially a second flag.
And then it goes watch and maybe belt, and then right shoe, left shoe. I mean,
There's literally a laundry list.
We have learned that there is actually a protocol of what to throw.
After the play, there were multiple fouls on the play. Personal foul, late hit, with targeting, defense, number 20. Additionally, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 20. That's his first. Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 88. That's his first. All three of the dead ball fouls will offset at the dead ball spot. It's second down.
You know what, Anthony? This sounds like a perfect time to bring in Mike Pereira.
Were you
Mike,
paying attention?
were you taking notes?
Wait a minute. Is he done giving that announcement yet?
A lot there.
Listen, I don't think it's targeting. I mean, you have a late hit, and I agree with the late hit, but is we talking about it's got to be head or neck area? It's not leading. It's going to go to review, but what you have to take a look at here, let's eliminate crown of the helmet first. Okay, so there's no crown of the helmet. So when you're talking about a player being defenseless, now you can't hit him in the head or neck area. But to me, it looks like, Anthony, to me, it looks like he leads with the shoulder, and it's more shoulder to shoulder. Remember, they have to confirm all aspects of it. Now, it said a late hit, personal foul with targeting, which means the personal foul would stay on, even if they take targeting off. But in the end, they all offset at the dead ball spot anyways.
And to take folks behind the velvet rope, this is almost precisely, I was just emailing Mike Pereira and Dean Blandino about a circumstance like this yesterday, where the onus is on the defender, but the posture of the offensive player can of course adjust and make it difficult for defenders to avoid picking up not only this personal foul flag that's there because the quarterback had begun a foot first slide, so you have to lay off regardless. The targeting aspect of this is really interesting though, because it becomes more and more difficult for defenders to now try and not pick up a targeting flag, because the impact of a parallel offensive player does become more violent as he's sliding to the ground there. We were literally just emailing about this yesterday, Mike.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we were just talking about that. And, you know, Dean Blandino does a tape every week that talks about the targeting element and whether or not the player is defenseless or not. And that's the first determination that you have to make. So if he's clearly on the ground, then he does become defenseless. But then again, you're talking about hits to the head or neck area. So you'd have to prove that it was in the head or neck area. And to me, I just don't think it is. And well, I think it's a foul for the late hit, but I just don't think it's a foul that you would want to disqualify the player for the remainder of this game.
I couldn't agree more. And I think from a broader perspective, it seems to me important to point out, this part of what I was communicating about yesterday, the game is so much safer as the defenders are working to get their head out.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting by number 20. It'll be 3rd down.
Just like Mike Pereira was laying out, like we've been discussing, leading with the shoulder, it's such a different game now. It was only a few short years ago where you would have seen the defender, in this case, Caleb Oliver, going in with his helmet and being accustomed to that being okay. Getting the head to the side, you're seeing less bodies sprawled out onto the field. The adjustments to the game have made it a lot more safe for moments like this to occur.
So now it's 3rd and 6. Matthews Jr. is in motion. Takes a peek to the left and drops it off into the middle of the field. And again, Matthews Jr. brings it home. And a 1st down here for Indiana. A pickup of 10 on that pass play.
Eerily similar offensive approaches on each of these first couple of drives here. The slot receiver, defense laying off.
Shivers trying to find a gap. Won't find it on that run. And maybe just a pickup of 1 on that play. Brings up 2nd down. 10 takeaways we've talked about. They've been able to turn teams over here so far. That's the 2nd best in the FBS. Look at the linebacking core. They've been happy with their secondary as well. We have seen how active so far as Caleb Oliver in that secondary has been here early.
A variety of players who transferred from the Power 5 level.
Trying to go on the ground once again, and the tackle made that time by Derek Smith. And they put in, he's a transfer from Illinois. They put in packages, they've said, to bring him here, trying to entice him to be able to play at WKU. 3rd and 10.
Of course, an opportunity to pick up a 1st down without getting a touchdown here. Find the tight end, A.J. Barner.
Bazelak will float it up, a little fade throw, and nobody there. It was Matthews Jr. who could have been the intended target, and brings up 4th down.
Pressure was able to leak through the backfield, harass Connor Bazelak enough, ends up throwing the football, and this is essentially a smart play to not put the football in harm's way in the red zone, throw it away. This is similar to how last season's tight contest began, where Indiana could drive the football, but then settle for field goals after getting into plus territory.
This is Charles Campbell, who was a perfect 4 for 4 last year against Western Kentucky. And this one a 34-yard attempt, and the kick is up, and the kick is good, and 3 points to start here for Indiana. Marathon is the official fuel of the Big Ten Conference. You look at pregame, and honorary captains, the 2 basketball coaches, Mike Woodson, Terry Morin. Both of these teams, well, obviously basketball, they always have high expectations in this state, but there's people actually outside the state of Indiana that think both of these teams are going to be really, really good in the upcoming basketball season.
Revamped rosters, returning talent for both Coach Woodson and Coach Morin. Kind of a combination for each program, really, of what returns and adding in the portal.
We see it in every sport. We see it on the field here today, and the transfer portal has played a major impact for both of these football programs as well this year. 9 plays, 45 yards, 3 minutes and 16 seconds to generate that field goal here for Indiana. And impact players brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. What do you have, Anthony?
There's a variety of players that'll hit the field for each team. David Davis at wide receiver, former Oregon Duck. We talked about the center, Rusty Stats, WKU. He leads inside. Speaking of leadership, Cam Jones, of course, the leader amongst all leaders for the Hoosiers on defense. With all the man coverage that they play on the back end, Tywan Mullen, one of the best in the business in man coverage.
Saw Tywan and his brother Javelle featured on Tailgate Show with Mike Hall, who came in yesterday. Do a fun feature with the two brothers on how well they know each other. And second drive here for Western Kentucky, and again it's the former Hoosier product, Irvin Poindexter, who gets pushed back, and a loss of 3, or a gain of 3 on that play.
See how patient the Hilltoppers continue to be offensively, whether or not they do want to continue to pursue a high-paced tempo, or the way they stack it up on the inside.
Patrick Lucas Jr., J.H. Tevis, one of those transfers from Cal, in on that play defensively. And Jalen Hall makes the catch right at the 30-yard line. A pickup of 2, so a lot of yardage on the last couple of plays here for Western Kentucky, and Cam Jones in on that play defensively.
It's a really key tackle from Cam Jones as well, because a lot of the defense had penetrated into the backfield. There was going to be a lane for a big gain, but Jones didn't make that hit.
On 3rd and 5, all kinds of time to throw, and the catch is made, but was he in bounds? Yes, he was, say the officials.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass, first down.
Jalen Hall rising up and getting a foot down, or did he?
Really nice read, and it does look like he tapped that toe in bounds. Jalen Hall, the Western Michigan transfer, as he goes airborne for the football. And when your toe taps and then you fall directly out of bounds, you don't have to get the heel down in addition to it.
It's a completed pass. The previous play is under further review.
Okay, so catch or no catch. Reggie Smith, our replay official, David Nowak, will take a look at this.
And the timing of this ends up mattering, because the fact that it's a continuous motion, you see his right foot and the toes coming down in, and so in a continuous motion, he's knocked out of bounds by the defender, Josh Sanguinetti. And so because it's a continuous motion out of bounds, he doesn't need to establish his heel down as well. Of course, only 1 foot necessary in college football, and since the toe taps down, a continuous motion out of bounds from theirs, this should be confirmed as a catch.
1 foot, 1 toe, 1 shoelace. I mean, that's right. Just get something in.
A really special effort right there. Good work by the WKU offensive line as well, giving Austin Reed the opportunity to go through his progressions. And as he did, he came back door. Initially, it looked like man coverage, but then the corner to the field side dropped off.
After further review, the receiver's right toe came down in bounds, and he maintained control of the ball. The ruling on the field of a catch is confirmed.
And the other thing, Mike Pereira keeping us honest in LA as he's watching as well. He's got to control the catch all the way to the ground as well and complete the catch, if you will. Austin Reed is a perfect 6 for 6 to start. 40 passing yards. He had all kinds of time to find Jalen Hall on that last pass play. And right up the gut, it's Robichaud with the carry. And we will see kind of a handful of backs here for Western Kentucky. Robichaud getting his first touches here today. And again to Robichaud, who picks up the first down after a couple of running plays, and they're moving the chains all the way down the field.
We've seen more of this early this season from WKU than we did with the Bailey Zappi offense in the past. With Austin Reed in there, we'll see not only his mobility utilized as a quarterback, but more gap scheme run game, more right in between the tackles coming at the defenders.
And tosses it into the backfield that time for Corley. Corley's got some open space to run with. He breaks off a tackle, and Corley is in for the touchdown. We have a flag back by the 35-yard line, but right now it's a Western Kentucky score. 38 yards for Corley.
It's a fast-flowing Indiana Hoosiers defense A quality call there from Ben Arbuckle to try and take advantage of that. As you get the eyes of the defense and their bodies, their pursuit going in one direction, to reverse back against the grain, allow some of your fast playmakers to get out in the open spaces. Tom Allen in Indiana certainly hoping this will be a holding call or something to that effect that comes back. The angles of the defense as you pursue in one direction and try to react back may be that call right there. The offensive line, Gunnar Britton.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That's the right tackle, Gunnar Britton.
It's tough duty for an offensive lineman, Lisa, because you know the direction that the play is going in, trying to get your body in position to get to the defender. It's not like he made some kind of crushing crackback style block. He just got his hands in the back of the defender, but it is the proper call because the defender's back was to him.
Curious to see what kind of creativity we see with some of these offensive plays here today. We've been told that they spent about 45 minutes on some trick plays yesterday in preparation here for this game. A quick out pattern and a loss, a huge loss, and a tackle in the backfield for Aaron Casey. A loss of 4 on that play as Casey hunted him down.
Spectacular pursuit. See, once the slot comes in, you're hoping to have multiple bodies out there in front to block for him, but Aaron Casey able to get across the face of the offensive lineman. That sort of passion is a part of the reason he wears that 44 in honor of George Taliaferro.
Second and long, 2nd and 16 now for the Hilltoppers. Reed toward the near sideline and connecting with Dawood Davis. First on the team in catches coming into this game. You had mentioned him as one of the players to watch. He averages about 18 yards per catch.
He's just so fast, Lisa. And because of that speed, he can end up getting better at what we just saw right there. You get speed in the feet of the defensive back, force them to open up because they're afraid you'll run by them. You can complete some of these comebacks and out routes with him being able to threaten them with his burst.
That's a pickup of 11 and brings up 3rd and 5. Reed again looking to throw, and he was intending to find Davis once again. And brings up 4th down.
What we've seen from WKU so far, they've mixed in some tempo, not the consistency that we've seen from the Indiana Hoosiers offense, but especially when they get to 3rd down with a young quarterback making a leap up in competition. You see some more patience on 3rd down.
We're going to see our first go of it on 4th down here for Western Kentucky on 4th and 5. A 5-receiver set. Reed looking to his left and floats it up and nearly dropped it in. The pass is broken up. A great defensive play. Noah Pierre stopping him on 4th down.
There's so much asked of you when you play that Husky position. That's where Noah Pierre is. Sometimes you'll look like a linebacker. Occasionally you look like a safety, but you are matched up in space, one-on-one. This island now right dominated by the Hoosiers. $3-0 Hoosiers on top back here at Memorial Stadium. On 4th down, they show all these bodies on the interior with the potential to blitz, but 2 of the defenders drop out. So now you get a one-on-one matchup on the outside, a slot fade from Malachi Corley matched up one-on-one with Noah Pierre. Outstanding defensive work.
First carry goes to Shivers. He's had a rough go of it. And no pickup on that carry. No yards yet for him on 3 carries here so far this afternoon. Will Ignat making the play for Western Kentucky. Second on the team in tackles. And on that read option, Bazelak showing a little shiftiness on that play. Headed for the sticks and gains the 1st down. Alasi with that missed tackle. Our impact players brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. We've seen a heavy dose of Matthews and Shivers here so far.
B.J. Matthews, some of the softest hands in the Big Ten. About 190 pounds of dynamite is Sean Shivers.
Bazelak fakes it to Shivers and over the head of his tight end, A.J. Barner.
I believe, like I mentioned earlier, we'll see more and more of Connor Bazelak on the move. In this game in particular, the Hilltoppers defense was hurt in the first game by a mobile Austin Peay quarterback. So it was really a more difficult matchup they had in game 1 versus game 2 when they went over to face the Rainbow Warriors.
On 2nd and 10. Another running play. Shivers that time picking up positive yardage as we head down to Crystal Rich with more on Connor Bazelak.
Yeah, Coach Allen actually tried to recruit Bazelak out of high school and liked that he was a multi-sport player who was tough enough to run the ball, who you just saw right there, but he was also poised in the pocket. Offensive coordinator Walt Bell said their tempo offense requires a lot of point guarding and wants him to develop in what he calls managing the gray when coverages aren't as black and white.
That time he finds Cam Camper for a pickup, and it brings up 4th down, just short of the first down. It's 4th and 2 with Indiana going for it. 50% success rate here so far. Just the 3rd time they've gone for it here on 4th down, and they will get stopped on 4th down by that Western Kentucky defense. Indiana had its turn defensively on 4th down, and the Hilltoppers responding that time defensively on 4th down. Another look at it. Nowhere to go for Shivers. And the Toppers love it. Next Saturday, we're all Big Ten all morning. Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith, Nicole Auerbach preview every matchup. Mike Hall and Brock Vereen deliver all the fun from State College. Big Ten Tailgate presented by Buffalo Wild Wings next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Trace Jackson Davis and some Indiana Hoosiers joining us on the Tailgate Show with Mike Hall. A gain of 4. This is the first time that Western Kentucky has begun a drive in IU territory here so far in the first quarter. Brings up 2nd and 6.
It was a ginormous stop, of course, on 4th down. Really aggressive call from Tom Allen, going for it right around midfield at 4th and 2.
Motion out of the backfield, and another first down pickup, and a little bit more for Matheson. A transfer out of Akron, and one of those turnover players that have been added to this roster.
But this route has been open throughout the day for Western Kentucky, and I believe it'll continue to be. The difference is starting in plus territory on the other side of the 50, completing that pass 10, 12, 15 yards makes a big difference because now you're in strike territory.
A pickup of 18 on that play, and brings up first down, a running play. Only a couple of yards that the Hilltoppers gain on that. You know, this is a program that has utilized the transfer portal with some of these players, maybe better than anyone in college football, you could argue, with some of the success that they've had. And time to throw, and connects with his tight end. It is a touchdown. Joey Belgium gives Western Kentucky the score.
The drop coverage there from Indiana, which you don't see a lot of blown assignments with the amount of man coverage in the Tom Allen defense. Belgian operated from the slot, a slight movement to the pocket that draws the eyes of the defense. And then from there, Brian Fitzgerald trying to track back in position. He and Sanguinetti can't get there in time and stop the touchdown.
They'll use Josh Simon. They'll use Belgium as tight ends in this offense. The extra point is good from Narveson, and a 7-3 advantage. 4 plays, 49 yards, a minute and 13 seconds. Didn't take long for the Toppers to get that done. Joey Belgium's first touchdown of the season. And Reed went 2 for 2 on that drive, 44 yards, and of course the passing touchdown. And you got to wonder just about the good field position that Western Kentucky began that drive with, Anthony. And you had mentioned it, the decision. Why do you think Tom Allen would go for that on 4th down in that position in the first quarter?
He spoke to the media and spoke to us a lot. this week about wanting to start faster. This is the Hoosiers offense that's gotten going in half number 2 of their game so far this season.
Omar Cooper Jr. The kickoff, and there's a flag on the far end, and Cooper Jr. with the ankle tackle right about at the 35-yard line. C.J. Jones making the play for Western Kentucky.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 18. Penalized half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10.
Another look at just how the running angles into the open field are making a big difference. It's hard sometimes to pull off of these blocks. You see, they're not trying to make crushing blows, but the defender, if he turns his back to you at a moment's notice, the onus is on the blocker to pull up.
Remember, we saw a block at the back that took off a touchdown, too, for Western Kentucky when they had the ball. Josh Henderson is the back in the backfield. They fake to him. It's going to be a big play. Donovan McCulley has some room to go all the way across the 50-yard line. The biggest pass play of the day for Indiana.
And of course, we see them racing over the football at the moment, but off the play action on the interior. An RPO look, one-on-one matchup outside for McCulley.
47 yards for Donovan McCulley.
Western Kentucky calls their first timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
First timeout of the half, and we will take a 30-second timeout. Well, Tom Allen hoping to find the end zone here on this drive. It's something that Indiana hasn't been able to do yet, and an empty backfield coming out of that timeout. Again to McCulley. A guy who went from, and you know his story, quarterback to wide receiver in spring practice, had asked actually to make that switch and a pickup of 5. Bazelak will keep it. And Derek Smith brings him down.
Bazelak isn't the most mobile guy in the world, but he was in a high school offense where he ran a good amount of triple option, so he's accustomed to running the football from the high school level, even though collegiately he hasn't done it as much. The IU coaching staff and their offensive coordinator, Walt Bell, they watched the same film that I watched. They saw this Western Kentucky University defense against Austin Peay be harmed quite a bit by a mobile QB.
Bazelak, a quick throw attempt, pass is broken up. Khalif Halasi, 5th year of eligibility here for Western Kentucky, and it brings up 4th down.
They'll leave their corners on an island. Tyson Summers, the defensive coordinator, feels really confident in their abilities. Jam Camper, this contested grab is something that Camper will have to continue to get better at with that big body, over 200 pounds. Great look we have from the backside there. Defender working through the body of the receiver.
Camper with the most receptions coming into this game for Indiana, but just 1 catch here so far in this first quarter. Upton Stout is the Western Kentucky returner and makes a fair catch. Call will let it bounce inside the 5. It's a beauty by James Evans. And we will step aside for 15 seconds. Still to come, the triple header continues. Braylon Allen leads the Badgers against New Mexico State. And then in prime time, it's Iowa and Nevada. That's tonight on the Big Ten Network and, of course, the Fox Sports app. Up against it once again to begin the second quarter. Pass play over the head of his intended receiver. Again, looking for Dawood Davis. No surprise. Trying to get out of trouble. Brings up 3rd and 11.
Just taking a look back, the last play of the first quarter, Aaron Casey came unblocked off the edge. He makes the impact on Jakari Moses. The entire football has to leave the end zone. It's not just about breaking the plane as it would be on a touchdown. To get out of the end zone and avoid a safety, the entire ball has to come out. The officials ruled that it did, but it was very close.
Expect all kinds of pressure here coming, and they get out of the end zone, and No gain on that play. Cam Jones, as you had said, Anthony, the first to get to him.
The emotional, the spiritual leader of this ball club. And oh, by the way, one of the best playmakers in college football. Reads it on the run, gets lateral and reacts downhill, beating Austin Reed in the hole. No way a QB is going to run over one of the baddest dudes in the Big Ten Conference.
Tom Ellard out of Australia, a 29-year-old freshman punter for Western Kentucky, all the way in the back of the end zone. Indiana's going to have great field position. Now, if they can field it, it's Matthews Jr. makes a player miss, and he's brought down at about the 41-yard line. The first time Indiana has returned a punt this year, if you can believe that. Tomorrow, stream women's soccer live on the Big Ten Plus app as the Hoosiers take on 8th-ranked Penn State here in Bloomington. There's no plus like home. Download the Big Ten Plus app and subscribe today.
At least I find it interesting the position Tom Allen and the Hoosiers are in, where Coach Allen has talked about starting fast. He tries to coach his players into aggression. Well, at the same time, he had that fourth down risk that went against him, and the Tops were able to put points on the board.
Bazelak fakes to Henderson, and a diving catch for Cam Camper. The second catch he has made here this afternoon. I mentioned he leads the team in terms of receptions here so far. Cam Camper was a guy out of the JUCO ranks. Offensive coordinator Walt Bell, while he was a head coach at UMass, had his eye on Camper all the way back then. Running play, Henderson right up the gut. It's a big gain and picks up the first down on a 2nd and 3 play. Here for Indiana, it's a pickup of 15.
So many players on the field, part of their personal bios. Transfer, as is Josh Henderson, North Carolina transfer.
And another 5-receiver set look. Drops it to Jalen Lucas, one of their running backs. Will Ignat making the tackle for Western Kentucky. That's a pickup of 7. And we have seen maybe Lucas billed and scouted as the fastest on the team, getting a few more reps and playing time slowly but surely as a freshman.
Just 17 years old is Jalen Lucas. His offensive staff, really the entire coaching staff, excited about what that young man's going to become for the Hoosiers.
Oh, he turns 18 years old at the end of the month. Some young blood there in the backfield. Shivers is the one back there right now for Indiana, and finding James Bamba on the play to the near side, a pickup of 5.
Multiple tight ends on the field for Indiana. They do have the ability out of these tight sets, though, to still utilize a tight end like A.J. Bonner and create matchups.
They give it to Shivers instead, makes his way to the 5-yard line. A systematic drive here so far for Indiana.
Just came right downhill. The counter play to Henderson, it got them into the red zone. And off the RPO, Connor Bazelak getting more and more comfortable with this. Being a drag concept, James Bamba, the out route.
2nd and goal now for Indiana. Camper's on the move. Takes it to Shivers, looking for the end zone, finds the end zone. It's an Indiana touchdown. Kobe has it for his first score of the year.
The former ball, who is now a Hoosier wide receiver. I love the amount of pocket movement that Walt Bell's been calling so far, getting his QB on the move, drawing the eyes of the defense, changing the trajectory of the route tree.
First catch of the season, first catch as a Hoosier, goes for 6 for Anderson Kobe. Charles Campbell with the extra point. It's good, and Indiana takes the lead right back, 10-7.
This Hoosier QB, known as a pocket passer with Bazelak, showing some wheels at the rock today.
Indiana's first touchdown of the day gives them the 10-7 lead over Western Kentucky, the 5th meeting between these two teams. Scoring drive is presented by Marathon, the latest scoring drive. 6 plays, 41 yards, 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and the first catch and touchdown for the transfer at Anderson Kobe of Indiana.
It's interesting because each of these teams, they want to go tempo on offense, they want to attack and roll personnel on defense, but it really was complementary football that led to that Hoosiers touchdown. A defensive stop, a punt inside the 5, another defensive stop, and now you get field position to put it in the end zone.
Bazelak was perfect on that drive, by the way. Moses and Matheson back to receive, and we'll have a flag coming out on that kickoff.
Free kick out of the bounds. Kicking team, number 80. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Now it's time for a T-Mobile studio update with Dave Revson.
All right, Lisa, Blake Corum already with 2 touchdowns for Michigan against UConn. This one from 20 yards out. Wolverines have just added a field goal on top 17-0 in the Big House.
I would say the start for J.J. McCarthy's going pretty good. Back-to-back starts for him at Michigan.
Making light work of the Huskies.
Swinging it over to the left side, and Jalen Hall has been one of the active receivers. Actually, both of these quarterbacks have been pretty efficient. Austin Reed, only 3 incomplete passes. Connor Bazelak, 4 incomplete passes. Both of them have attempted double-digit pass attempts here so far. And a slant pattern to Malachi Corley, a pickup of a 1st down and a gain of 15.
You mentioned the efficiency of Austin Reed. He's been known, really throughout his entire career, but during the early season for the Toppers, to put the ball in traffic, put it in harm's way. Hasn't done it yet today.
And 5 different receivers, a wide open man, dropped it in the breadbasket for Dawood Davis, and his 2nd touchdown of the year, plus 44 on that pass play.
Shouldn't surprise anyone that WKU has an answer to an IU touchdown. It tests your eye discipline between the tempo, the crossing routes, receivers going in every direction seemingly. And so for a QB, you know where your main read's going to be. Essentially in this air raid system, you're throwing to green grass. Your eyes take you to where the open man should appear.
Braden Narveson, a place kicker here for Western Kentucky, in 3 plays, and that's the Hilltoppers' answer to Indiana's touchdown.
And not a bad one for the Tops. Receivers open, a young quarterback making that start in a hostile road environment.
Dawood Davis, one of the difference makers, one of the transfers, 40 total transfers here on this Western Kentucky team, 20 incoming for this year. And you look at Tom Allen, he has been known to be fiery here on the sideline, and this was one of those moments after that touchdown.
And what he's trying to, my assumption is that he's talking a lot of eye discipline with his players. Tom Allen's a gesticulator by nature anyway, so there's going to be some emphasis to what he's delivering on the sideline there. And plus, he's got resting coach voice. Like, he can never, ever just sound normal. It's always raspy and gravelly when he's talking.
Resting coach voice.
I've suffered from that myself.
I hope not. That's not a valuable thing to have when you make your living off of your voice. For the biggest Indiana experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app, powered by Big Ten Network. Your favorite Hoosiers content and streaming and on demand, plus the iconic games and exclusive events only on the Big Ten Plus app. Download and subscribe today. We have seen field position be awfully key. We've seen a couple of touchdowns scored on a short field opportunity here for both of these teams. The kickoff went to push, Western Kentucky up to the 35-yard line. And we saw Tom Allen going to work there on the sideline. You've got maybe a pulse on the vibe, Crystal Rich. What are you feeling down there?
Yeah, Hilltoppers coaching staff said they wanted Austin Reed to develop quicker reads. He obviously did that in that play, but on the sideline, they said he's very emotional. I see him being very calm, cool, and collected. He'll celebrate a little bit after a good play, but after that, he seems very locked in to what's next.
And Lisa, I think to Crystal's point there, unfortunately, we got a Hilltoppers defender
Officials
down.
timeout for an injured defensive player.
Jaquez Evans is the player who is down. We'll step aside. Second and 9, 10:32 left to play before the first half. Western Kentucky with a 14-10
Will the
advantage.
clock operator please reset the clock to 10 minutes, 43 seconds, and the clock will start on my signal.
And again, Jaquez Evans, nicknamed Donut, is the player who was tended to there on the field for Western Kentucky. A guy who they say could start at about 5 different positions defensively. He's that valuable. Bazelak, a one-handed grab. It's a beauty. Henderson has it, and he's got more. Look at that cutback across the 50 and brought down in Western Kentucky territory.
Where's the football? You immediately get it to the umpire. You're in a position to spot it. Unfortunately, got a Hoosier player down here as well. But look at the one-handed grab. That is wide receiver worthy out of the backfield from Josh Henderson. It immediately gets into playmaker mode. Snags this so effortlessly. Cutting it back against the grain. That's special stuff right there.
Josh Henderson feeling good about himself. His first career rushing touchdown last week against Idaho, and making things happen again this week. Indiana trailing 14-10, 10:27 left to play. James Bamba was the injured Hoosier on this pass play.
Unfortunately, a non-contact injury that he goes down. Always scary and certainly worthy of concern. He was able to leave the field under his own power, though.
Bazelak. And right at the sticks as he connects with Javon Swinton. They have spread this around a little bit. Swinton, I believe, the 10th different receiver here for Indiana today.
What these offenses end up doing, they kind of make your eyes follow like a tennis match, just sideline to sideline over and over.
Shivers right at the sticks, getting pushed back by that Hilltopper D.
See if he gained enough to get the first down.
Officials say he did.
And so when they're going tempo, Walt Bell told us what he's looking for is to never leave the ball on the ground. You immediately rush it to the official.
7 straight completions for Bazelak to 7 different receivers, make it 8 straight completions. Again to Swinton. A couple of times he's gone there on his drive. Derek Smith making the play.
So after you make sure you've helped the official spot the football, you got to get the eyes over to the sideline to the signal caller who's sending in the play. And as the lineman, even on big chunk plays, you rush to the hash mark so everyone's in position for the ball to quickly be snapped.
Empty backfield here for Indiana. And that's the running back, Shivers, picking up the first down. Oliver pushing him out of bounds.
I like how Connor Bazelak sort of led Shivers up the field. There wasn't a defender who was in position with tight coverage. And so as opposed to putting it right on his numbers, he sort of led him up the hash mark. That led him towards the first down.
We'll stay with the empty backfield set, and pressure was coming from behind. A one-handed grab, but incomplete. A.J. Barner nearly made a highlight grab for Indiana. Look again.
Anytime Connor Bazelak is in jeopardy, he looks towards A.J. Barner. You saw some of that athleticism that the Hoosier coaches have marveled about. He did reestablish himself back in bounds, so if he was able to pull this down, it would have been a good grab. If nothing else, a spectacular effort.
Running play to Shivers, who spins away and about 3 yards short of picking up that first down, a gain of 6.
The combination of Shivers being only 5'7", a tight, stocky build, he can get through tight crevices, small cracks in the offensive line as they block and try to stick and stay on defenders. It doesn't take a very big crease for him to fit through. You add the power that he brings to it as well. That's a part of why he was able to pierce the defense.
On 3rd and 4, Bazelak has gone to the left. This time he goes to the middle on this drive. First down pickup. And we've seen the receiving capability of Shivers and Lucas and Henderson as their running backs here today. A pickup of 5. And first down here for Indiana. Shivers on the move. And right too low at his fingertips. Incomplete.
The ruling on the field is a backward pass recovered by the defense. First down, Western Kentucky.
It's very close. Connor Bazelak was standing on about the 17-yard line as he delivered the football. And from there, defender coming in for the Hilltoppers, B.J. Wagner, the presence of mind, just in case. You're always coached to finish moments like this. You heard the official quickly say it had been confirmed. One of those expedited reviews that upstairs, and they review every play in college football anyway, but able to get that call in and down really quickly. It's not only about the position of the feet of the quarterback, but where is the path of the football as it leaves his hand.
Didn't you ask our replay officials if they had done an expedited review yet? And they said no?
They did say no.
Didn't you email Mike Pereira about targeting? And we had a, I mean, I'm just saying.
I also did that as well, Lisa, yes.
So a huge turnover. It's something that Western Kentucky and this defense has done all season long. 11 takeaways, tied for first in the FBS. Corley makes the play.
Try to be ready for all things up there.
Flag thrown before the snap. False start.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And again, that penalty on Gunnar Britton. Coming up at the half, it's the Reese's Peanut Butter Halftime Report with Dave Howard-Jerry in our Chicago studios.
This football team that leads the nation does Western Kentucky in takeaways. An opportunity here as they've stolen a possession where Indiana had a drive going, had gotten into the red zone. Now here a chance for them to make it a multi-score game.
Reed again out of the shotgun. Hands off to Irvin Poindexter. Played at Indiana from 2019 to last year, 2021. Said he hadn't talked about playing against the old program in preparing for this week. Reed will keep it. And just short of the first down, Cam Jones with another tackle, the leading tackler here today for Indiana.
To the point that Krista Rich was making earlier, the last time we had an opportunity to talk, Austin Reed has really played within himself. There's been a control to his approach. First couple of games of the season here, he was putting the football in harm's way. He was throwing some up for grabs, which you're going to do on occasion, just as a playmaker. But I really like the approach he's had today. You can tell the bye week was spent making sure that he plays within himself and recognizing that he can trust his eyes and not necessarily throw it into harm's way.
Let's see what Reed can do on 3rd and short. A design quarterback run, and looks like it's short of the sticks, and it'll bring up 4th down.
It's a big call for Tyson Helton. I believe the proper call would be to punt and try to shift field position. They go with the QB lead into the strong side of the formation. All those crimson jerseys making sure he's not able to move the chains. On 4th and short, Indiana should be in their punt-safe personnel just to ensure it won't be a fake. This is the right call for Tyson Helton. I think this makes sense.
It'll be Tom Ellard to punt, Connor Delp to receive for Indiana. Delp trying to fight that sun. He'll let it bounce, and it'll roll inside the 5. How about the 29-year-old freshman, Tom Ellard, dropping it inside the 5. 4-point edge, Western Kentucky over Indiana. Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington, Crystal Rich on the sideline. Connor Bazelak, 16 of 21 in this first half. We're comparing the first halves this season, and this is his best first half of the 3 weeks here so far.
They were looking for a fast start from their quarterback, from their offense in general. You've gotten certainly a better start, a more efficient start, a faster start, not the most combustible offense in the Hoosiers in the game today. I like what I'm seeing from Connor Bazelak, especially with the called movement of the launch point.
60-yard punt puts Indiana deep into their own territory, and Emery Simmons with the catch. Simmons now the 11th different receiver here for Indiana, a pickup of 6. Deflected, and is it intercepted? Western Kentucky is down, and the ball is dead, blown dead at about the 10-yard line. And pass deflected. Halasi got a piece.
Outstanding work in coverage. Not only does B.J. Wagner make the pass uncomfortable for Connor Bazelak, but then all these other Hilltoppers defenders converging on the football while it's in flight.
Derek Smith nearly had the INT. And so they have 7 of those coming into this game. Pass and the play is short of the first down. Caleb Oliver making sure of that.
And that was a concerted effort, a decision made by WKU defensive coordinator Tyson Summers to play even tighter in coverage, not only on the outside, but in the slot, because that's where Indiana has methodically marched down the field with the slot receivers having off coverage from the nickel defenders. That time they tightened things up on Bazelak.
Tyson Summers, the folks around Western Kentucky, the defensive coordinator, they say that he's kind of the mad scientist, kind of drawing up blitz packages. Fun to see a guy like him work, and as well as Tom Allen working with Chad Welts. And a special teams play there for Indiana, a punt of 51. Coming up, Wisconsin clashes with New Mexico State, and then in primetime it's Iowa colliding with Nevada. All still ahead on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
A couple big games there for West Division Big Ten teams. Both need to respond after losses last week.
Now the East Division undefeated coming into this weekend. You look at some of these matchups, the notable ones that we're highlighting for you. Afternoon and evening football. Michigan State, of course, taking the trip over to Washington and Seattle. Spartans are ranked a top 25 football team.
Cam Jones, no surprise, trying to infuse a little bit of extra juice into this Hoosiers defense.
Well, you know, we were talking to defensive coordinator Chad Wilt about Cam Jones. You know, is he more valuable off the field, on the field? He said yes.
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 What's his answer? Very simple.
The intangibles and the tangibles, yes. Yes, we need that all from Cam Jones. Another quick strike over to the far sideline, and Dalvin Smith making the play, picking up the first down. Heavy dose of Davis and Corley at the receiver spot, and Smith now getting in the mix.
They went with the slot blitz. They brought the nickel defender for some additional pressure, but Austin Reed recognized it quickly enough, got the football out of his hands on time.
Reverse flea flicker. Said that they worked on those trick plays over to Corley. Corley makes a man miss, cuts into the middle of the field, and is brought down just about at the 20-yard line.
That is a well-executed play. Very similar to what they attempted to do earlier where they drew a flag. You draw the eyes of the defense, but what's most important, the offensive line. Several of the big bodies just bring elephants on parade. So now you have all those white jerseys out in front of Malachi Corley allowing the run after catch, because Indiana thought they were in good position, showing patience, but that patience actually allowed the O-line to set up their blocking and help advance the wide receiver.
Only time they had attempted and executed a trick play this year was against Hawaii, and that resulted in a touchdown. You see Corley's numbers, 7 catches for nearly 70 yards. That's Tywone Mullen, who's the injured Indiana player, captain. Both of these teams comfortable, as you had mentioned, Anthony, of leaving their corners on an island, and Mullen certainly is one of those guys.
Please reset the clock to 3 minutes, 14 seconds. 3:14, please, and thank you. The clock will start on my signal.
You see the experienced secondary. I mean, players who have played their entire careers, we've made so much about the transfer portal. These players have decided to stick with Indiana. 4th year, 5th year, sometimes 6th year guys, to add a lot of veteran leadership in the secondary for Indiana this year. Reed has been impressive in this first half, goes right up the middle, and the pass is incomplete. Couldn't get a foot down. Michael Matheson tried his best.
Great read and a pretty pass thrown by Austin Reed. Full extension. Cam Jones getting deep into the secondary as a defender. Narrowly making sure the receiver's out of bounds there. A clean pocket. Not much heat coming from the Hoosiers.
16 of 20 passing for Reed. Already above 200 passing yards in this first half. He sits at 206. And a couple of touchdowns here so far. 2nd and 10. Reed once again to Matheson across the 15 and brought down at the 14-yard line. McCullough making the play. Already a sack for McCullough today.
A couple of snaps ago, Indiana rotated an entire new defensive front into the game. So at every opportunity to get fresh bodies out there for their defense, you're seeing both coaching staffs trying to make sure they can do that. It's a part of their DNA to get as many bodies and keep them fresh as they can.
Halftime report presented by Reese's coming up. And 2 and some change. 3rd and 3.
I anticipated more blitz in the game from the Hoosiers. Haven't seen much of it.
McCullough at the bottom of your screen, crossing pattern. And Michael Matheson in the transfer from Akron, active on this play.
The difficult thing when you blitz against a quick striking air raid offense, you don't normally get home to sack the QB.
The flag is thrown. A touchdown. Nope. Just short. The flag was thrown on the far side. Intended receiver was Corley.
Normally these
Holding. Offense. Number 7. 10-yard penalty. First down.
David Davis, one of the receivers, with a holding call.
when they run pick routes, or offensive players like to call them rub routes, but pretty frequently it ends up being a situation where one of the players tries to act like they're running a route for the other one. There's David Davis. This ends up grabbing the defender. It was a 2-on-1 outside. You didn't have to do much because there was a numbers advantage, again, due to the tempo of the Toppers.
First and goal from the 13. There's your pressure coming and providing it here for Indiana. Aaron Casey.
Some of the first heat of the series here came on the interior. They had J.H. Tevis working as a pass rusher, able to penetrate. Aaron Casey getting on the inside there. They finally brought a little bit of extra pressure. And so Austin Reed not able to step into the pass. So what was an open wheel route, he could have hit for a touchdown to his running back, sails out of bounds because of the additional heat that was brought.
Reed looking to his left, again to Matheson. And a tough defensive play. Tywone Mullen's feeling pretty good back in this game to make that defensive stop.
Referencing a couple of snaps ago, Lisa, how it's a cat and mouse game if you want to blitz an offense like this, because it's difficult to get home for actual sacks, but you do want to make the quarterback uncomfortable. Austin Reed kind of felt like maybe there could have been a flag thrown there. Proper call by the officials. A proper no call in that case.
Reed with time to throw now. The pressure's coming. Gets rid of it. A huge hit at the end of that play. Jalen Williams, the talented corner, ending it and bringing up 4th down.
Big stand right there from the Hoosiers defense. Check it out in real time.
30-second timeout.
Williams has been receiving all Big Ten recognition multiple times earlier in his career. Well, as we've noticed, we led the show talking to folks about tempo, and that certainly played out throughout the first half here. What I like about the approach each coaching staff has taken, though, they're not being sort of irresponsible about the tempo. They're varying it enough. A quarterback like Austin Reed making his first road start in a truly hostile environment. He was over on the islands a couple of weeks ago facing the Rainbow Warriors. And now against a Big Ten opponent, they've been responsible with how they've throttled back the tempo on occasion.
34-yard attempt for Braden Narveson. Narveson's kick is up and good. And a touchdown advantage, +7 now for Western Kentucky. And 3 weeks, Anthony, and that man in Indiana have trailed. And each of those 3 games at various points. Had to win in comeback fashion against Illinois. Trailed at halftime and maybe one of the worst first halves that we've seen offensively and defensively.
And meteorologically.
Yeah.
Did I make a word up? Meteorologically?
Well, you know,
I'm going to use it. I think it's a word.
Trailed 10-0 at halftime last week.
And Bonnets. But Tom Allen talked about the way that his squad responded in half number 2, being encouraged by that, while at the same time, these slow starts that have been there for the Hoosiers, trying to figure out a way to coach them through that, be focused, enhanced early in a ball game. Only having 10 points on the board, I don't necessarily sense today that Indiana isn't engaged here, but there's certainly been some moments after driving the football where they haven't actually ended drives and touchdowns. Again, similar to last season's contest.
Low kick, rolls into the end zone. Yeah, Tom Allen said last week at halftime some words were said. What did you use to describe his voice earlier?
Raspy. Resting coach voice.
Yep, the resting coach voice. Yes. That's what I was trying to hunt down.
He probably had some choice words for the team. It wouldn't necessarily utter on
For a second, I was like, who mic'd up Tom Allen? Oh, wait, that's Anthony Harris. That's pretty good. Yeah?
One of the great and emphatic personalities that we have in this conference. Probably some words will be uttered at halftime again today, but I do think this is different than last week, though. His team looks engaged. I think they're locked in. The execution, to me, is more key with where they sit at the moment.
Well, still some time to work with, and a couple of timeouts as well. 47 seconds before the half for Connor Bazelak and this Indiana offense. Bazelak. That helps here for Indiana, right across the 50-yard line. Halasi making the tackle, but it's Cam Camper with the big gain of +26.
So less than 50 seconds, 75 yards from the end zone. Absolutely no chill in the Hoosiers offense.
Tempo, tempo, tempo! Oh, nearly a one-handed grab by Matthews Jr.
This should be an impossible grab, but I don't know of anyone else other than DJ Matthews who would have even come this close to making it. He's got some of the most spectacular mitts in the entire conference.
Campbell's longest field goal, 43 this year. some work to do to get to that range. It's Camper again for a first down. It's just what we have seen from Bazelak. He kind of zeroes in on a Cam Camper and DJ Matthews in crucial drives. A timeout here is called, and we will step aside for 30. Connor Bazelak was very impressive, leading a game-winning drive, as we had talked about, in a comeback win against Illinois. Stakes are different here and at the end of the first half, but just like that drive, that game-winning drive, kind of systematically moving Indiana down the field. 27 seconds left before the half. Now one timeout left here for Indiana. The pressure was coming from the edges. Oh, Camper couldn't hang on.
And a big day in his debut. And the difficult grabs that we've seen some of the other pass catchers make from Indiana, it makes it feel odd when a difficult one ends up just being dropped. It actually hits Cam Camper in both hands.
C.J. Jones in his 6th year, number 18. One of the guys to get to Bazelak first. Second time out for Western Kentucky. We'll step aside again. Important drive here for Indiana. Looking to get some points right before the half, trailing 17-10 to Western Kentucky. Empty backfield, Bazelak. Bazelak is brought down, and Halasi with the sack.
Indiana calls their 3rd and final timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
We will step aside for 30 seconds. A loss of 6 on this play.
Really nice work in there too, man. You can tell they drill that. For DB to come in and dip his shoulder like that, a crease that wasn't really there. How's that look from the end zone? Is that something worth showing? Do we even have time?
(17-10), 16 seconds left to play. 4th down here for Indiana. Second, 3rd and 16 for Indiana. Short pass play attempt over the head of Sean Shivers. Quarterback pressure coming from Juwan Jones. They've dialed it up a little bit as expected.
They have, and now that they're in their dime personnel because of the down and distance and the time remaining in this half, you see the safeties playing much deeper for Western Kentucky. So you can still attack inside and have time.
Yeah, sitting at about the 15-yard line to begin this play, and a deep attempt going all the way for the end zone. And Matthews Jr. took a hard hit on the goalpost. And a couple of Western Kentucky players are down as well.
Certainly not something that you prepare yourself for very frequently. I kind of thought that maybe you'd see them just try to attack beyond the first down marker and try to clock it afterwards. They elected to go towards the end zone, almost Hail Mary mode as well. All these bodies colliding with the back of that goal post. Wow. We got cameras everywhere.
We do. That's what makes our crew so fantastic.
That and their willingness to listen to me sing off air into random microphones.
You didn't know that they mute your microphone?
Do they do that?
They do. 17-10 at halftime. Good shots.
I'm appalled at that notion.
Indiana will receive the second half kick, but trailing again here at halftime by 7. Both quarterbacks have been efficient. And we check in with Crystal Rich.
Coach Bazelak not able to score on that last drive, but he did get a lot of receivers involved. What did you see from him in the first half?
A lot of positives. We just got to finish our drives. Missed a couple throws there that were big, and but it comes down to finishing for us right now.
Some good defensive stops on their last drive. What do they have to do to keep that same intensity in the second half?
Well, just discipline with our eyes. You know, got to force them to punt the football, which is not easy to do, but it's more about eye discipline and tackling well.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We have a second half to come. Coming up.
Discipline.
Eye discipline. Sounds
Yes.
like a football coach, right? The Reese's Peanut Butter Halftime Report. Dave, Howard, Jerry in our Chicago studios. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance, Simple Human Sense, by Velveeta, and by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference here at halftime in Bloomington, Indiana. Western Kentucky with a 17-10 advantage.
That's the pace of the action during the first half. That's not actually a time lapse. That's the way it looked with the action on
Of
the
this
field.
offense, that's what you're talking about, what we saw here in the first half?
Man, that was something else.
Anthony Hare and Lisa Bynes and Crystal Rich is on the sideline for us. Well, I mean, you know, to put it in perspective, the last 16 plays combined between these two offenses, pass plays. Like the last time we saw a run play was about 4 minutes and some change left in the first half.
And I do think there's a potential for an advantage along those lines with Indiana. I mentioned the term complementary football a couple of different times here. It's just hard when you feel like you need to keep pace with your opponent because of the way that Western Kentucky's operating.
We mentioned Crystal Rich. Time to check in with her on the field.
Yeah, Western Kentucky said that Austin Reed is really good at doing the cool things and going off script, but they want him to develop more in the pocket. I just spoke to their head coach, Helton, and he said he's loving his game in the pocket today. He is trusting his game. He is getting good reads on the pressure and the coverages. He's finding the open receiver. I asked him the message in the locker room, and he said, we can feel it. Now let's go win it.
Big shoes to fill. Bailey Zappi, of course, the quarterback, setting all kinds of school records last year offensively. And Austin Reed, the transfer from the D2 level, trying to fill those holes. We got a helmet that's off, Mike Kadick's helmet, so he will have to exit for at least a play. And you look at the quarterback comparison here in the first half. What do you think, Anthony?
Like both guys have been really efficient, effective, but on the whole, Connor Bazelak has had more throws that have been open that he's missed. So he's been a little streaky through the first couple of games this season. That first half, I would say, no different.
Two transfer quarterbacks for both of these teams. Bazelak, some time to throw. He goes deep. Matthews Jr. nearly had a big catch, and it was broken off. Caleb Oliver on the coverage.
It was against this same Hilltoppers defense. It was a special teams moment where DJ Matthews went down last season, had the ACL injury, missed the remainder of the year last year. Keep talking about the hands, though. You rarely, if ever, see DJ Matthews drop a ball that hits him in both hands.
Matthews Jr., of course, had the ACL injury, only played in the 4 games last season. Excited to be back, worked hard to get back. Running play this time. Shivers breaks off a big one. Shivers to the 40-yard line. And Evans brought him down, maybe saving a touchdown. Shivers had a chance.
They spread him out with the formation, and Connor Bazelak knew exactly what to do with it. Hand it to your little stick of dynamite in the backfield. Look at those little legs turn.
Listed at 5'7", 186. He's like a rock, trying to bring down a rock. That time the rock with a soft touch and the hands on the pass play. And to the inside the territory of Western Kentucky, Jawan Jones making the defensive play.
There's just this kinetic energy every time Sean Shivers has the football in his hands, because you can tell he is giving every ounce of himself to get every inch available.
Recruited hard out of high school by Indiana. Florida native. They wanted him then. They got him a few years later. Camper is short on the first down.
Coach Allen said that Shivers has become that guy very quickly at 5'7". He has a chip on his shoulder. He said he could be very chirpy, but he loves that because last year they didn't have that big personality on the offense.
Yeah, I love the swagger. Chirpy.
All-star.
Chirpy was a good word they used yesterday.
Offense, number 6, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Chirpy often associated with birds, I suppose, but he would be more of a bird of prey because of the approach that he takes on the football field.
Transfer out of Auburn, played 4 years, 43 games, 9 starts from 2018 to 2021.
Where'd he go? He disappeared behind all those bigger bodies on the sideline.
It's Josh Henderson now in the backfield for Indiana. And nearly picked off Davion Williams. Almost had an INT.
This is the area of the field where you have to be more careful with that. You're not officially in the red zone at the 21 as opposed to the 20, but the confines of this area of the field doesn't have the defense acquiescing yards to you to the same extent that they do between the 20s. Expect tighter coverage.
On 3rd and 6. Bazelak on the move. Tough catch to make. And holding on is Henry Simmons. But a huge hit that time by who they call Donut Evans.
He's one of these players that gets utilized in a variety of ways for that Hilltoppers defense. Jacquez Evans had to leave the field briefly earlier.
Broken up by Davion Williams again. Shown up defensively on this drive. Brings up 2nd and 10.
That's where Connor Bazelak has to be very, very careful because the coverage so much tighter here inside the red zones. There's not as much space for your receivers to separate.
Anderson is swallowed up. Derek Smith, the first to get to him. A couple of WKU tacklers. And 3rd down. Quick play here for Indiana. Well over the head of Camper. And Davion Williams again on the coverage.
Surprised he didn't try to hit A.J. Barner. There's a matchup there with Barner running a crossing route with a linebacker covering him. Could have been an opportunity there. Bazelak has shown some confidence and some faith in A.J. Barner to make some contested grabs this year. There wasn't a lot of success once they got to a certain yard line trying to deliver the ball outside the numbers. Would have been more suited to attack the middle of the field.
This is a 32-yard attempt. Campbell already has a 34-yard field goal make today. Campbell from 32 out. The kick is good. He is 2 for 2 on the day, but a flag. Be an offsides call.
Offside. Defense, number 7. The penalty is declined. The point after. Good. Timeout on the field.
It's a 4-point edge. So Indiana on that first drive picking up some points. Shivers looking for a little more. Celebrating Fansville, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Time to celebrate Fansville and college football. With ice cold Dr. Pepper, the one the fans deserve. And Hoosier fans taking in the tailgate. Big Red, the mascot. WKU mascot in the house. You wanted to change Big Red's nickname to, or name to a...
I feel like Topper could be something we could... can we officially like file a name change
around?
sort of? Yeah.
Or maybe just a nickname. We don't necessarily have to change the name, but that could be Big Red's nickname,
okay.
right?
All right. Picking up what you're putting down.
Topper's appropriate. Hilltoppers.
Do we have authority for that?
We do not. We do not. We can pretend like we do.
Right.
Michael Matheson fields the kick. Tripped up just right at the 25. You know what? Speaking of nicknames, if you're wondering, we're throwing out names like Donut and maybe Tick and Monster.
Our halftime consumption?
Right. Alfred Bryant, you know, his mom on first reference would prefer that we could say Alfred, but Lance is his middle name, and we just got some unusual names to go by.
Rusty center.
Rusty stats.
For the Hilltoppers.
The honorable mention that you don't see on that graphic.
Given name Donald.
Rusty seems to fit more of a football player.
What's your favorite nickname?
What's my favorite of the list?
No, of you.
LB. You call me
All
LB.
right, I do.
We call you Ant. We did not make the graphic.
We didn't go tick for me. We went Ant.
We did not. But speaking of donuts, we had some fantastic donuts here, courtesy of Parlor Donuts.
I couldn't have it pregame. It was a little too early for me pregame. Halftime felt more suitable.
Surprised me because you're a sweets kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
3rd and 1 here for Western Kentucky.
What happens on the inside there? CO Nofawanga Totoa on the interior. If they run the football, he's got to be able to shut it down by himself. Allow everyone else to penetrate.
Good blocking there. Found the gap for the first down. Ryan Fitzgerald making the tackle. Pick up a 5.
Nofawanga Totoa is playing what we call a 2-eye technique. He's on the inside shade of the guard. They get just enough movement to create a crevice for the back.
Robichaud found the crease off of 1 foot. And the catch is made right at about the 45-yard line.
The official's hat was thrown off there, indicating that the receiver ended up out of bounds, at least for a moment. So if they rule that the defender, in this case Tywan Mullen, was the one who forced him out, he has to reestablish himself back in bounds, and the officials correctly judged that he did reestablish himself first before receiving the pass.
That's Craig Burt Jr., transfer out of Hutchinson Community College. Low snap, handled by Reed. To the middle of the field, fighting for some extra yardage. A good play by Dawood Davis. A flag on the play. The backfield, McCullough making the defensive stop.
Got a Husky
holding. Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Noah Pierre from the Husky position ends up appearing to be a delayed blitz. You're going to see him wrap all the way around through the protection into the gap. He's the looper on the inside of Mark Good as the tackle. And that little tug on the jersey, just enough. Quarterback Austin Reed fading away for the pass.
New offensive line coach, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator calling plays for this Hilltopper offense. Again, some time to throw here for Reed. And a big pass play for Burt Jr. Get on that right sideline. I like to use Burt Jr. on the right side. Pick up a 24.
Very pretty pass. Excellent release over the underneath coverage and a well-timed throw by Austin Reed. So the confidence in the hands, very calm near the sideline, tapping both feet.
Western Kentucky had 4 plays of 20 or more yards in the first half. And that one going for 24 into Indiana territory. Quick pass to Hall. Has his blockers pushed out at the 25.
It's one thing to prepare for tempo, but then even when they don't snap it extremely quickly, just the fact that they're over the football, you have to be at the ready constantly as a defense. They don't substitute, you can't substitute. The mental and physical toll that can take on you throughout a drive.
To Robichaud, the back, and a flag immediately comes out.
A really impressive reaction by Jared Casey.
Indiana has been issued their first sideline warning of the game. It's 2nd down.
A big responsibility for the get-back coach when the offensive ball carrier is right there near the head man. You cannot be on the white as the coach. Anyone on the staff. There's a coaching box that the head coach can continue to advance up the field from a yardage perspective down further in the yard lines, but not towards the field of play.
A couple of running backs in now for Western Kentucky. Fakes the pass, goes to the middle of the field. Joshua Simon, the tight end, stops short of the goal line.
Such a pretty play design. It takes a little time to execute. Fake one direction, fake the other direction, and then your big play tight end, all 6'4", 235 pounds of Josh Simon barreling up the seam.
We've asked Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator, what do you call this offense? He said you see some air raid principles, go pro style run. That time he showed a couple of running backs for the first time here today. First and goal for the Hilltoppers. Reed calls his own number, and he's in for the touchdown.
Strong side of the formation to the offensive left, the defensive right, and so more personnel there. Trying to read it downhill is Cam Jones. Just got out-gapped as the interior of that Hoosiers defense getting moved at the point of attack.
Narveson for the extra point. It's a double-digit advantage for WKU. Tyson Helton, Western Kentucky, giving Indiana the largest deficit that they've trailed by here so far this year. Helton, the head coach, WKU, done some fantastic things in the head coaching spot. This program has never beaten a Big Ten school coming into this game. The Hoosiers, again, trailing by the most that they've trailed. They trailed by 10 last week to Idaho. Tyson Helton coming from a football family, learned under dad, both he and his older brother, Clay Helton. Working at Georgia Southern. He was watching that upset with Georgia Southern taking care of Nebraska last week. And Coach Helton pretty happy with his quarterback, Austin Reed, who rushes in for 6. Finding the end zone in the red zone has been a struggle for this Indiana offense, 43% here for the season entering today, and 1 for 4 in red zone possessions in this game, including the game's only turnover. Ended on a 10-play IU drive at WKU's 10-yard line.
Hoosiers settling for field goals at times. Toppers, not so much.
Shivers back in the backfield, gets the handoff, and picks up the first down. Let's check in with Crystal Rich.
Yeah, after that lost offensive drive for the Hoosiers, Shivers was the first one back to the bench, visibly upset. He tapped his helmet a few times. He wasn't causing a ruckus, but it really goes into the fact, like Coach said, he always felt like he has to prove himself, and you see right now he's running with a vengeance.
Yeah, 2 plays, 2 carries for him. He had a 32-yard run and then a 15-yard catch on that first drive for Indiana to open up the second half.
Effectively gets to top gear so quickly.
Bazelak, and pass broken up defensively. Davion Williams has answered the call. Check that. Halasi that time has answered the call on the coverage.
It really seems to me that even in moments where, like there, the coverage dictated where the safeties were both in between the hash marks with the ball in the middle of the field, but some in cuts, outside working in, levels concept that could allow the receiver to work back towards the QB.
Again, going to the right side, Matthews Jr. kind of lost his footing. Jaden Hunter in and around that play. And a 3rd and out. We haven't seen many of 3 and outs here today by either one of these offenses.
You certainly wonder if some frustration perhaps creeping in a bit, even if it's not visible frustration, but if the Hoosiers are beginning to press a little bit, you have seen a couple of drops in the ball game. Seen there an example, DJ Matthews losing his footing, trying to execute the tunnel screen.
Upton Stout to return. And try to make something of it. Brought down at about the 26-yard line. Austin Reed, the D2 transfer playing on the road, has played a solid game here so far.
His coaches describe him as a gunslinger, but there's been so much control to the way he's played the game today, not only as a passer, but the mobility. He's able to run one into the end zone there.
Won the D2 National Championship in 2019 for West Florida. Coaching staff has said that he's played with a chip to prove that he belongs at this level, the FBS level. Ankle tackle, Aaron Casey has put together a solid performance defensively. That's a loss of 1 on that play.
They call him Ace. Aaron Casey has continued throughout his career to emerge as more and more of a leader for this IU defense. They will need it throughout the second half of this ball game to begin to play the game at their tempo, to impose their will on Western Kentucky.
And poor Jakari Moses, a couple of touches and negative yardage. Stutter step and some hesitation and a burst of speed across midfield. It's a first down and a big gain just like that. Moses with positive yardage on that carry.
There's trust that's necessary to fit the run in the way that the Hoosiers do. The problem is when you twist up front, linebackers can get outflanked. You get out of your gap on the inside, as Jared Casey did right there. He's trying to fit downhill off the interior of the defensive front, but it's difficult.
A gain of 29, fakes the pass. Reed finds Corley, who finds the first down, pushed out. Or just short of the first down, a couple yards short.
And what ends up happening, LB, is that the second and third level of your defense, now they don't necessarily trust their eyes because they just have all these opposite colored jerseys flying by them in an effective manner as chunk yardage is getting picked up by Western Kentucky. And so you overreact to moments where a running back arc releases. If he throws the football, you can still be patient, but you're seeing them churn out yards on you.
New quarterback, new offensive coordinator calling plays, the cutback, and it's a solid one. And the ankle tackle, the ball is loose, the turnover that Indiana was waiting for. No, they said that the ball is down.
It's first down.
Oh, Christopher Keys nearly maybe had a momentum-changing turnover.
We'll see the Toppers. They may rush over the football here just to be on the safe side. And they're the elbows down. He's still maintaining possession of the football until it's jarred loose by the ground. Excellent call by the officials.
Oh. Taking it to the sticks. Lance Bryant. The tackle.
Everything right now with the Hoosiers and their defense is lateral, reactionary. They've had some nice moments where they've been able to blitz into the backfield, but you can only be so helter-skelter with that because of this offense and how quickly the football's gone from Austin Reed's hands.
312 passing yards for Reed. 2nd and 1. Trying to get that yard, looking for that gap, trying to fight for it, and will be short.
But frankly, that's where they need to improve as much as anywhere. The pursuit angles, the eye discipline, that matters a lot for a team that passes with the volume of the Toppers. But as much as anything, they have to show up the interior of this IU run defense.
Stephon Monster Matthews making the tackle. 1st and goal here for Western Kentucky.
The reference C.O. Nofawanga Totoa earlier. He's next to J.H. Tevis on the interior.
And pressure coming. Here comes Jones. Intercepted. There's the Hoosier turnover they've been waiting for. Jackson with the pick, and a turnover in the red zone by Western Kentucky. Our mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate.
When you bring pressure, you put speed in the feet of the quarterback, Austin Reed, trying to make a play when it's not necessary. He's played within himself throughout this entire ball game. Now, for the first time, Austin Reed forces the issue. The Hoosiers make him pay.
Bradley Jennings Jr. gets the tip. Jackson with the pick. And we'll see what Indiana can do with this opportunity. Thought they might have had a fumble recovery. Gets the interception instead. And now one turnover for each of these teams. Tipping it to himself. What a play! What a play! Emery Simmons for the first down. A highlight catch.
This former Tar Heel, he may have stickum on that left glove. How do you make that grab? Tobacco Road, like tobacco gloves.
He had thought about going to Indiana, and a first down catch made right at the 49-yard line. Devon Swinton hugging that left side. Has been a nice outlet here today for Bazelak. Henderson in motion. Receives the pass. Henderson looking to maybe make a pass. He'll run instead. Did he cock his hand a little bit?
He did. He was looking to pass, as we saw DJ Matthews earlier in the game. It's one of those moments where if it works, if the receiver comes open, you throw a big play, then the trick play is viewed as genius. In that moment, the defense performed well. They played it properly. They lose a couple of yards.
2nd and 12. Henderson pulled down by Derek Smith. Gain of 5.
I really think, Lisa, as much as it's proven difficult for Connor Bazelak to consistently complete passes towards the outside, it's like there could have been potential there for a horse collar tackle. I really think just the strength of Henderson didn't make it as apparent.
3rd and 7. Bazelak to the near side, again Cam Camper.
But that's the, sorry LB, that's the pass, that sort of deep comeback that they're completing towards the outside. It's a tough pass, especially with college hashes. There you're on the near hash completing it, but that's been the most consistent attempt that Connor Bazelak has thrown, but it's a tough pass.
11 different receivers, including Camper. And Henderson pushed out of play by Ignat and Smith combined.
So that's why I think it's important, the approach that Walt Bell, Connor Bazelak, they are taking. Not forgetting about the run game. I do feel like A.J. Barner needs to be a bigger part of this offense. So they've got a talented tight end that can attack up the seams. His size and athletic ability can be a mismatch.
Yeah, just 2 catches for 4 yards here today, Anthony, for Barner. Henderson once again breaks the tackle. Henderson finds a first down to the 20.
This is the end.
That'll be the final play of the third quarter. A pickup of 6. Indiana is threatening once again. Gonna have to be a comeback here for the Hoosiers. Defense coming to play, getting a turnover, but Western Kentucky still with 11-point advantage. Another red zone opportunity here for this Indiana offense, working on their 8th play of this drive. Both quarterbacks have thrown for over 300 passing yards here today. Bazelak looking to add to it. That was through the hands of Simmons.
I don't know how many drops there have been today, but certainly more in one game today than I've seen throughout any other contest so far in this young season by the Hoosiers.
The red zone offense, 4 trips, 1 touchdown, a couple of field goals, and the turnover in the red zone in the first half.
And red zone turnover, a 4th down earlier in the game at midfield. It led to the initial score for the Tops.
Gives it to Henderson. Henderson in for the Indiana touchdown.
Both these ball clubs are almost like a Spider-Man meme in many ways. Tempo on offense, volume passing. But Tom Allen, these Indiana Hoosiers, are getting into their personality right now. The Big Ten bullies using this ground attack to get back in.
19 yards, the longest of his career. Indiana now going for 2.
Will they dare go QB draw? No, not with the motion.
Henderson, that motion man, and not even close. Olasi with the big play.
What I referenced there, Lisa, because both offenses love tempo, it's a part of their DNA. They like to operate fast. It's Tom Allen getting his guys going there. 3 out of the 5 captains for Indiana are defensive players. But in the end, which squad can throw an off-speed pitch? Right now, Indiana not able to match the passing arsenal at the same rate as Western Kentucky, but they've run the ball really effectively. So that complementary football term that I started using a bit in the first half, that's where when they've played a little bit of field position, utilized the rushing attack, that's where Indiana's been able to find advantages. Now, for Tom Allen, back to calling the defense this season. Chad Wilk, the defensive coordinator, but Tom Allen's calling it. Now the challenge for Tom Allen would be, your offense has you back in the contest. Can your D close the door on the opponent?
Tom Allen calling the plays, as you mentioned, Anthony. Chad Wilt as the defensive coordinator with the heavy organization side. Talking to both coaches, Chad Wilt will maybe kind of simplify things, shrink the game down, give Tom Allen maybe a menu of calls, defensive calls to make in game. Time now for Dave Repson and a T-Mobile studio update.
What you got, Dave?
Well, it is not nearly as close in the big house as it is for you guys in Bloomington. Blake Corum has tied a school record for Michigan with 5 touchdowns, 45-0 over UConn.
You know, I told Dave, Lisa, what was it, I think 2 weeks ago, my number 3 running back in the Big Ten, Blake Corum.
Is that right?
Yeah. Really impressive ball carrier. Donovan Edwards apparently didn't dress for Michigan in that game today. Blake Corum more than capable of carrying the load for the Wolverines.
Undercutting that time, Anthony Breckenridge. Brian Fitzgerald, check that, Brian Fitzgerald in the backfield.
I like to use the term playing downhill at the opponent when you build some momentum on defense and feel like you're becoming the aggressor. Good hustle off the field right there. CO Dofalanga Tatoa.
Deep pass attempt. Deep pass attempt. It's broken up. Monster Matthews with the coverage.
There's been some opportunities for takeaways for IU today. This one a missed opportunity for Monster Matthews.
Reed, again, a flag is out. A flag is out, but Jalen Williams there to try to make the defensive play.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 23. 10-yard penalty automatic, first down.
They did bring additional pressure, as I've been calling for Chad Wilt, Tom Allen to begin doing here. As they did, though, it was protected so solid. So you got a clean pocket. Austin Reed had the opportunity to step into the throw. The flag in the end on Jalen Williams as he worked back downhill, but had to work through the body of the wide receiver, drawing the flag.
Penalty gives a first down opportunity. Again here for the Hilltoppers. Matheson making the catch. Noah Pierre making the tackle.
This offense has tested the patience and the eye discipline of the Hoosiers secondary so much throughout the game. It just forced them to drive the long field and then find moments, find situations to bring additional heat, very likely in these third down scenarios.
Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator for Western Kentucky, calling plays as an offensive coordinator for the first time. On 2nd and 8, he draws up a running play, and it is a positive play down the sideline, tripped up, saving a tackle is McCullough. And Robichaud took it.
Monster Matthews, he thought there was going to be another one of these bubble screens to the slot receiver. That opened up not only the running lane at the line of scrimmage, but the extra yardage.
59 yards, quarterback keeps it.
That was a near catastrophe for the Toppers. Fielded the snap, but then right there at the mesh point, nearly gave the football back to the Hoosiers.
What a fortuitous bounce. Right into the hands here of Austin Reed. Second and goal. Reed, jump pass. Should have thrown that flat-footed.
I think it was the proper decision because his intended target didn't come open, so he threw it out the back of the end zone. He made a split-second decision as he leapt into the air. He didn't see Josh Simon open,
or
so he threw it
not
away.
as much hops on the throw.
Some hang time.
Yeah, exactly. 3rd and goal. You see Reed's numbers. Those are career-high numbers. 314 passing yards. 4 for 9 today on 3rd down here for Western Kentucky. Immediately there, Matt Holt for Indiana.
Austin Reed pleading with his sideline to attempt this 4th down. I've been discussing the interior of that Hoosiers defense. J.H. Tevis knocking it back at the point of attack. Linebackers reacting downhill from the 2nd level. That is a huge stop for the Hoosiers. Matt Holt.
Straight away from 20 yards. Austin Reed isn't going to win that argument. Darvison with the 20-yard attempt. It's good.
IU had to bow up. They were bending, but the Indiana Hoosiers so far unbroken.
Later today, Braylon Allen and the Badgers hit the field at Madison to take on New Mexico State. Big Ten football powered by Unleaded 88. Today at 3:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Jalen Lucas back to receive here for Indiana. Corey Munson to kick off for Western Kentucky. Hilltoppers looking to beat a Big Ten team for the first time in program history. 5th meeting between Western Kentucky and Indiana. Hoosiers have obviously taken the first 4. Lucas gets tackled from behind, right at about the 25-yard line. Scheduled to air next, Big Ten Live football game break presented by Velveeta. Breaks down all the action, gets you ready for the rest of the triple header. You have football to watch here on Big Ten Network. Brought you 8 games last Saturday. Start to wrap up the non-conference season. Interesting non-conference schedule here for Indiana. You see the rushing yards. You thought that could be maybe like the X factor here for a couple of these offenses here today?
When you're not throwing it as effectively, certainly not as explosively as you'd like, to utilize the rushing attack has been effective.
Bazelak getting pressure. And Derek Smith coming from behind to make the play in the backfield.
He's got to tuck that football away. This is a near strip with Derek Smith. So he'll come from the second level, unblocked, just shuffles for a moment, sees the opportunity. This is what we know as a green dog blitz, where they didn't bring him immediately. He was just there initially to shore up the cutback lane, but once Bazelak didn't hand it off, he just went on a seek and destroy mission.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15. Bazelak stands in the pocket, and there he was trying to find A.J. Barner.
That'll be open to him again. And I'm wondering if it was a discussion between he and Walt Bell to know that these opportunities could be there. But I believe in this fourth quarter, with the opportunities that remain, A.J. Barner could be a bigger portion of this IU passing attack.
Tom Allen has given offensive coordinator Walt Bell full authority, calling him the head coach of the offense here this year. As Tom Allen makes defensive calls and works with Chad Wilt, his defensive coordinator, on the defensive side.
If there's anywhere that Bazelak has missed Barner at times this season, it's been that seam route.
Bazelak again back to throw, and right at the sticks. Lassie making the defensive play, just short. Oh, they're going to give him the first down.
They've rotated tight ends there. A.J. Barner went out, and Walt Bell, he's told us he feels really good about the talent at tight end. James Bamba left the field earlier, so Aaron Steinfeld rotates in that time.
The ruling on the field is that the ball carrier reached the line to gain. The previous play is under further review.
I was going to say, it was awfully close.
Tom Allen just stoically marching the sidelines. Certainly a clean catch. You referenced how close it is, Lisa. All these reviews, we know at this point, need to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. It was ruled a first down. Got 2 different receivers, both the line judge and the back judge, or the line judge and the side judge, who were in position. They're ruling that the football itself got beyond the first down marker.
That is Aaron Steinfeld's, if this stands, first catch of the season, and the 12th receiver to catch a pass for Indiana today.
Steinfeld from right here in Bloomington. His father, a psych professor at IU.
You can bring in Mike Pereira. Haven't heard from you since the first half. What do you think of this spot?
Hey, Lisa, this is a tough one, but what you're trying to gauge here is the first contact, the very first contact. If he maintained control of the ball after that, which it looks like he does, then he'd have to be all the way, the ball would have to be all the way to the 36-yard line. And so when you look at it tough, looks like it might be short, though.
After further review, the ball carrier was down half a yard short of the line to gain. It'll be 4th down and a half yard at the 35.5-yard line. The clock will start on my signal.
So the call is reversed. 4th down.
On 4th and short, with the way that the Indiana defense has performed, hasn't been able to come up with quick stops. I believe it makes sense to go for this 4th down, try to extend the drive.
Exactly what Indiana's doing. See how much that they can push Connor Bazelak. Not necessarily the Bush push, but the Bazelak push. I mean, it's the same play, you just got to change the name of it.
Did he maintain possession of the football? I didn't necessarily see a big surge come from Bazelak himself. If I'm Indiana, I just get lined up and prepare to snap this football.
Officials timeout on the field for a measurement. Clear.
So you don't see the Hoosiers under center very frequently, but here on 4th and short, Bazelak gets the snap from center and then just sort of waits. He allows the pile to move a little bit, but he didn't get much of his own momentum moving forward. Gets the push from behind by Steinfeld. Saw a lead blocker there leading him into the hole as well. Would have liked to have seen more pad level from Bazelak, but they do just narrowly move the chains.
And that's a huge call. You think a possible turnover on downs with that field position for Western Kentucky.
Pretty much say goodnight if they don't get that one. Where I had questions about that earlier 4th down decision. I thought that one made a lot of sense from Tom Allen.
So the drive continues here for Indiana. Bazelak, a pump fake. And overshoots Cam Camper.
Where are your tight ends at, Connor? If there's a mismatch, if there's an advantage anywhere, because Tyson Summers told us he's got a lot of confidence in the corners that are in the lineup here for the Hilltoppers, and it's shown up with an understandable reasoning why. They've played spectacular coverage on the outside against the Hoosiers.
Barner still with the 2 catches for 4 yards.
In the slot right now, there's our guy, A.J. Barner.
Feed Shivers instead. Ankle tackle by Hunter.
We've seen Indiana throw what are known as relief passes off the mesh point, the RPO look, because you're not seeing them press the slot receiver. So if the slot receiver's Barner right now, they can just stand up and throw him the football.
Numbers coming. Bazelak had to get rid of it. He was staring at 3 white jerseys.
They're just making life really difficult. There should be, and within this system, there can be just a side adjustment where you see, as the 3rd receiver inside, if there's no one over him, you rise up and throw him the football. Here, you just got Connor Bazelak retreating from the oncoming rushers as the blitz came from Western Kentucky. But to be fair, Connor Bazelak, first season within this system, it's one thing that Walt Bell talked about was just getting more recognition and comfort within those moments.
Stout will let it roll. That might have touched a Western Kentucky player. Hold on, Tom Allen trying to plead his case.
The ball was illegally touched by a member of the kicking team prior to being touched by the receivers. It'll be the receiving team's ball, 1st and 10, at the spot of illegal touching.
One more look at this play. A punt of 46. It was close. Tom Allen still talking to the officials. Reggie Smith, the referee, on the punt, and it was a close play. Did this touch Williams, number 14 in Western Kentucky?
And Davian Williams, he looked back. You could see him tracking the ball in flight, trying to see if maybe he could get out of the way. And at the last moment, after the ball bounces up from the ground, it begins to carry him towards him. He did everything he could to get out of the way. Tom Allen certainly pleading his case.
Well, you got to look for any advantage.
The ruling on the field that the ball was not muzzed by the receiving team is under further review.
Ah, okay. Talked his way into that, so now official review.
We're doing commercial break. Everyone's having a sip of water, catching their breath. Doesn't have a lot of time for that during live action here. The various angles that we had a chance to look at during break. This has been the best angle so far, and especially, I mean, the way our crew could slow it down here. Damian Williams, he saw the ball trying to get out of the way of it, and it looks like he was just narrowly able to avoid it.
I like this angle, Anthony, too. Look how close that is. And can you see the space? I mean, tiptoeing around the pigskin.
If there's any way for a human being to reverse their trajectory in flight, that's precisely what Davion Williams was able to do right there.
If he's into ballet, Davion Williams, but tiptoeing away from disaster here.
Now, okay, so that one, that's a great angle that does show it's more definitive from that angle there, that the ball does clearly avoid the right thigh of Davion Williams.
And again, you know, Anthony, I don't think we were looking at this if Indiana isn't trailing, right? I mean, Tom Allen would just let it go.
Agreed. As the ball began to carry him towards Williams, it just, you know, these oblong-shaped football, I've been trying to describe it to my 4-year-old when we're playing catch. You know, sometimes it's going to go this way, sometimes it's going to go that way. You never know.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It's first and 10.
Just kudos, too, to our crew for getting those definitive angles as well. And the replay looks, obviously Tom Allen not happy with that, but it's the right call.
It's definitely the right call. It was close, it was stressful, it was tense, but it's the correct call. And now, Tom Allen and his defense have the opportunity to come up with a huge stop.
Malachi Corley at the top of your screen. He had missed really kind of the last drive and a half for Western Kentucky, the leading receiver here today. It's a running play, trying to chew up some time now for the Hilltoppers. Cam Jones with yet another tackle.
But using the term eye discipline a lot is because there's so much eye candy with the formations that Western Kentucky throws at Indiana. So the second and third level of the Hoosiers defense have to be sound with their run fits.
Double-digit tackles now for Cam Jones. That was number 10 on the day. 2nd and 6. Oh, the ball is loose. Cam Jones trying to get it. Indiana has it.
The ruling on the field is a catch fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Indiana.
Cam Jones popped it loose, and Miles Jackson again. He's got a pick and a fumble recovery today.
The captain of this Indiana Hoosiers football team answering the bell in the open field, one-on-one with an NFL caliber tight end, Cam Jones. Johnny on the spot, the alpha for these Indiana Hoosiers, making the play that his offense needs to get it back in the game.
The defense handing possibly the offense a gift in the red zone. Matthews Jr. makes the grab, and the tackle from behind by Derek Smith. Good block on that play coming from Henderson.
A.J. Bronner is a really effective blocker. That's the majority of what they're asking him to do in this ball game. I really believe he could be a bigger part of their offensive output as a pass receiver. They'd just be willing to feature him in it.
Will Ignat is the defensive player for Western Kentucky on the field.
Tennessee transfer, one of the vocal leaders. His Top's defense.
7 tackles today, tied for second most on the Hilltoppers side. Cam Jones, we talked about the intangibles and the tangibles. That's an example of the tangibles that this Indiana team and defense gets from him.
He diagnosed it so well. The tight end, Josh Simon, with a lateral release, working towards that curl flat area. So he had to see that and then react with such speed to be able to get there and make that play.
Here's 2nd and 6. A low snap that is handled. Henderson! And a flag coming out.
Pass interference. Offense, number 1. 15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
The majority of these route combinations that Indiana runs, especially in the red zone, work out to be picks. So Donovan McCulley, former quarterback, you can run this as a rub and not make it so obvious that you're trying to block the defender. They're the defender playing off coverage, so it takes more strides, several more steps. It's more obvious to the officials that you're basically just trying to block to free up the release.
Second flag on that kind of play. 4th penalty here for Indiana. Lose him back. 2nd and 21. And the pass is deflected down by Evans. Brings up 3rd down.
No, you're in 2-down territory. There's no need to try and force it beyond the sticks or force it into the end zone. If you see an opportunity, again, perhaps over the middle, DJ Matthews uncovered right now in the slot.
Again, working with an empty backfield, Matthews Jr.
And LB, it's interesting because when they've done that with A.J. Barner, where they've left Barner uncovered as the number 3 receiver in the slot, Connor Bazelak hasn't just picked the football up and thrown it to him immediately. When it was Matthews right there with the same uncovered look as the number 3 receiver, that time he threw it to him.
Interesting, though, there's a definite connection between Bazelak, Matthews Jr. We've talked about Camper. He relied on those 2 guys for a game-winning drive against Illinois.
Okay, interesting.
Indiana will go for the field goal here.
I anticipated more aggression from Tom Allen there. This makes sense, though. It does. I just assumed they were going to go for the 4th down.
On the 32-yard attempt, kick is up and good. But that field goal was set up because of the defensive turnover that was forced.
Read and diagnosis from the alpha and the omega of the Hoosiers.
Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Thought we would have a competitive one and a close one. That's exactly what's evolving. It has evolved here in Bloomington, Indiana. Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington, Crystal Rich on the sideline for us. Mike Pereira in Los Angeles when we needed to use him. Cam Jones. The forced fumble generated 3 points here for Indiana.
Mike's always useful.
I never said he wasn't. It's always like a call a friend. Always available. Built for Success, presented by Rocket Mortgage. It is Cam Jones. What a year he's having here so far. 9.5 tackles he's averaging today. He's in double figures. Forced that fumble.
There's a reason that Tom Allen and Chad Wilton rotate so many bodies through on their defense. You'll see full series on occasion where Cam Jones isn't out there. He did get banged up earlier in their opening game. But a series like this, you know they want their best players on the field.
19 tackles coming into today. Searching for some extra yardage, it's Jalen Hall. And Pierre and Williams there for Indiana.
In a one-possession game, as Again, going back to eye discipline, patience for the Indiana defense. You don't need to overreact when you see these relief passes go to the outside. You need to swarm and pursue once it's declared.
Austin Reed in this offense looking to chew up some time. And a first down run by Robichaud. 24-4 career record as a starter, including his D2 record. He had a quarterback competition with Jarrett Dagey in the preseason. Dagey lost that competition, he was a transfer from West Virginia, left to play at Troy. And head coach Tyson Helton saying that he wanted to make that decision so whoever was not the starter would have the capability to leave if they needed to or wanted to. Big run there for Western Kentucky. And that's a backbreaker for this Indiana defense as a flag comes in late. Robichaud with the big gainer.
And Kai Robichaud, as he creases the defense, that same
Personal foul.
counteraction.
Face mask. Defense. Number 30. At the distance of the goal. First down.
That same counteraction that's been effective for them earlier on.
23.
And Robichaud, as he's looking to finish the run, he covers it up with both hands, as you should do. You know Indiana's coming in trying to strip the football away. Jalen Williams misses the football, gets the face mask of Robichaud.
36-yard run. Puts Robichaud over 100 yards, 128 on 11 carries here today. And Robichaud stays in after that big gainer. Picks up a few. Noah Pierre with the tackle. Brings up second down.
You always try to gauge these things a bit in watching. Teams that rotate a lot of players through, coaching staffs like Ben Arbuckle, the first season, like you referenced as a play caller. Kai Robichaud being in the game right now, he called him Mr. Reliable. You want your most reliable players trying to protect the lead on the field offensively.
Yeah, it was a true walk-on last year. But to your point, Anthony, you need a score up by 5 in the final few minutes. Why not have Mr. Reliable in it? And the shovel pass to Mr. Reliable. Ankle tackle by Cam Jones. Brings up third down.
So Western Kentucky football team over the past decade, they've defeated 4 FBS, 4 Power 5 football teams, all in the Southeastern Conference. They have gone into SEC country and won games. 0-8 all time versus the Big Ten Conference. One of those SEC wins was led at Arkansas by Tyson Helton.
Big third down for this Indiana defense. And a quick timeout call by Tyson Helton.
Prior to the snap, Western Kentucky calls their timeout.
Trying to build off the success that you're talking about, Anthony. 8 wins last year. This would be their biggest win this year. Dave Revson, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith recap the entire day of Big Ten football and the final drive presented by Auto Owners Insurance. That's tonight at 11 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Big third down. 4 for 10 on third down here today. Aaron Casey making the play.
It's close. Very close. Austin Reed continued to squeak through.
Timeout here for Indiana as we will step aside for 30. The upcoming schedule brought to you by Fubo TV. And you see Cincinnati at Cincinnati, a road trip, a night game at Nebraska. and the number 4 Michigan team that's playing really, really well right now. The non-conference season, a unique one, the exact same opponents. You're talking about Idaho and Western Kentucky and Cincinnati from last year to this year for Indiana. So, but against Illinois, they opened up in a conference game, and it had to be a game-winning drive in the opening week for Indiana to win this one.
It was an Illini defense that seemed to be controlling much of the night. I used the term streaky earlier in defining the start to kind of Bazelak season for IU. That was the first example we had of it in that game with the way he and the Hoosiers offense finished.
At the time, it was the longest drive of the season. They put up a 90-yard drive here today. But up until that game-winning drive, they had only accumulated about 70 yards prior to that drive in the second half. Henderson cuts it back. And stops short. It's a gain of 7. Upton Stout with the tackle. Guy who's tied for second in the country with a couple of interceptions to go with his partner Caleb Oliver, also with 2 picks on the year.
You put so much of the offensive personnel to the wide side, you draw the defense there, cut it back.
We'll pick up the short yardage. And again short.
That same cutback lane was available to Josh Henderson there again. Part of the way Walt Bell is setting it up is because of the formation.
3rd and 1.
He really could have cut it back all the way against the grain to the outside the offensive tackle.
Time is important here for Indiana. Clock is ticking, trailing by 8. Henderson picks up the first down. Remember, Indiana couldn't convert on a 2-point conversion. All of these sort of missed opportunities now come back to haunt you a little bit in the final few minutes, trailing by 8. Bazelak to throw, a flag coming. Pass interference coming on Stout.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 21. 10-yard penalty and automatic, first down.
The entire Hoosiers sideline reacted off the release down here. Because as Upton Stout, he had his eyes inside and then reacted late. He was worried about giving up a touchdown if he didn't tug at the jersey.
Welcome in the audience who is watching Northwestern football. We've got Western Kentucky and Indiana. Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington, and Crystal Rich with you from Bloomington, Indiana. The Hoosiers looking to make perhaps another comeback, and a flag coming out again on Upton. Upton Stout, back-to-back flags on back-to-back plays.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. 15-yard penalty and automatic, first down.
Upton Stout, the redshirt freshman, transferred from North Texas. He's one of these guys who's shown himself early as a playmaker for Western Kentucky, but what I like about the approach of the Hoosiers right now is recognizing matchups. Addison Kobe against a freshman defensive back.
So now into WKU territory. 7 penalties now on Western Kentucky today. Bazelak looking over his right shoulder. Camper spins away, picks up the first down.
There's been a lot of 3-by-1 on this particular series. You go with that. They had trips, formation into the boundary. It sets up this one-on-one matchup to Cam Camper, where you know all the other personnel is on the opposing side of the field. This is Indiana dictating the matchups they want to look for.
Bazelak throws it away. Second down.
There's an opportunity to feed it to Emory Simmons if Connor Bazelak didn't come off of that so quickly. Again, sometimes the better part of valor is you don't like what you see, get rid of the football, don't take pressure, don't take a potential sack. But the pressure hadn't gotten home into the pocket. There's a chance to hit Simmons in the second window.
Bazelak had 330 passing yards against Illinois, 353 passing yards here today. And 53 pass attempts. A new career high here for Indiana. And the ball on the deck. Western Kentucky says that they might have it. And a flag down as well. We got a lot to sort out here. Hilltoppers are insistent that it's their football.
The difficult thing in a moment like that for the officials, Lisa, is because the pass receiver becomes a ball carrier. He's wrestling with the defender. As they tussle, his momentum continues to move forward. So the play continues. At a certain point, his feet come off the ground, though, and you eventually have to judge when to blow it dead.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense.
Wow.
Number 24. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Wow.
The ruling on the field was a fumble recovered by the defense. That yardage will be assessed from the end of the run. It's first down.
3 huge penalties here for Western Kentucky.
Here's a look at what I was referencing, Lisa. Is Emory Simmons. He spins back. There's a face mask right there. That's the call from the officials. But the play continued for several more seconds from there. And then eventually the defense strips it away. But the flag had already occurred by then.
Bazelak, pump fake. Headed towards Barner's way. No flag. Clean coverage by Derek Smith.
Well, Connor Bazelak has faced a decent amount of pressure earlier in the game. This is a delayed blitz. Good pickup on the interior from Josh Henderson. We'll get some heat that comes late on Bazelak. This is part of why Indiana was comfortable running the football early. You want to do everything you can if you're going to score to leave little time for the Toppers.
Henderson gets the carry. Henderson inside the 5. Pick up a 5.
We showed the stat earlier in the game, Lisa, where each of these offenses less than 2 minutes per drive on their scoring drives coming into this ball game. This is a very methodical approach from the Hoosiers.
Eight plays, 71 yards. And you see almost a 3-minute drive, 3rd and goal. Bazelak. Wide open, Cam Camper. Touchdown, Indiana. A 4-yard pass play that cuts the lead to 2.
There were some good moments in the first half of this ball game as Connor Bazelak was running sprint action, moving the pocket, some called movement of the launch point. Here he was so careful. I mean, because Cam Camper was so wide open. You don't want to blow that layup.
Got to go for 2. Couldn't convert on a 2-point attempt earlier in this game. And 2 timeouts left, and Tom Allen will use one of his 2 timeouts left.
Calls their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
We will step aside for 30.
This will be a 60-second timeout.
I was just about to ask you the obvious, but we're underway. Indiana needs this 2-point conversion. Anthony Herron, where do they go?
I think too big a risk, in my opinion, for this offense to attempt to run the football, even though it's been successful. What I believe they should do, they've had success throughout the game moving the launch point. I would love to see Connor Bazelak on the move with a throwback to A.J. Barner. Maybe it's just because I've been saying A.J. Barner's name so much in this ball game.
Western Kentucky calls their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
So a little chess match. Tyson Helton wanted to see how Indiana was lining up. You mentioned Barner. He was lining up in the slot position there for Indiana.
So that wouldn't necessarily set up for a throwback to him, but with that 3-by-1 formation, if they come back with it, then you had to the single receiver side. They had Donovan McCulley, their biggest body as a wide receiver, who's just now, sort of learning how to play wide out, but he can be effective down here just because of his sheer mass.
Step back and think about the big moments here for both of these programs. Western Kentucky has never beaten a Big Ten team. Indiana is looking to improve to 3-0 for the third time in 5 years under Tom Allen, looking to build some momentum as they go on the road for a couple of games. We showed you at Cincinnati, at Nebraska. A chance to tie it here.
You have a safety to that now stacked formation side.
Western Kentucky calls their third and final timeout of the game. 30-second timeout.
You're more likely to end up having a contested catch here, unless you just purely are able to route someone open or the defense blows the coverage. You can't count on a blown assignment down here. So if you're looking at the potential for a contested grab, you love your chances with an A.J. Barner, love your chances with D.J. Matthews. Those are the guys with the strongest and most pure hands out of the entire receiver corps.
We got to this point after this touchdown catch by Cam Camper, who had to hang on a little, squeeze it a little bit tighter, make sure he had that one. Indiana has not converted on a 2-point conversion this year, 0 for 3, including 0 for 1 here today.
Some of those fans watching the Northwestern game, they didn't see some of the flags early in this drive that led to the moment we are right now.
3 crucial penalties by Western Kentucky. Bazelak looking for someone, floats it up, catch is made, Donovan McCulley, but a flag is down in the end zone.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 21. The penalty is declined. The result, successful 2-point conversion.
We're tied at 30.
Gotta love a good dramatic pause from the official. This was not a blown assignment, but they brought heat, protected well by the Indiana offensive line and backs in the backfield. Bazelak just calmly, coolly shuffling his feet to move the pocket, and a teardrop towards the back of the end zone. Look at that pass throw by the offensive line, and the quarterback working opposite, working to find a window. Tom Allen declining that penalty. He knows we got points on the board.
Emphatic decline. The irony of this, Anthony, Indiana's last 2-point conversion, October 30th last year against Maryland. Guess who? McCulley threw for the 2-point conversion at Maryland last year. This year, McCulley catches the 2-point conversion.
I like that. That's worthy of some Hoosiers Trivial Pursuit right there. Let's get a board game going.
Kevin Messenger, the statistician, part-time Indiana football historian.
Crystal Rich asked Tom Allen about the pulse rate of Connor Bazelak, how cool and calm he always stays. We saw that on display.
Flag coming out.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team, number 80. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. It's 1st and 10.
And field position has been so crucial and has been part of the story for some scoring drives here today. And you see Tom Allen's reaction. Just can't have that at any point, and especially at this point.
Second time in this game. Earlier time it happened, it led to points for the Hilltoppers. 47 seconds to go. Yes, they're out of timeouts, but we have seen Western Kentucky pick up chunk yardage at times against this Hoosiers defense today.
Braden Narveson has hit a 34-yarder, a 20-yarder, and a 24-yarder. The 36-yard line is the target line for Western Kentucky. That would be for his career long. And a big pass play that's broken up. Jalen Williams providing the punch. Lean on those corners and they come up with the play when the play needs it the most.
A blind pass breakup from Jalen Williams. He didn't get his eyes around to play the football.
Might have gotten away with one too.
That's where you're leaving it into the hands of the officials. He got beat off the line of scrimmage by David Davis.
Brings up 2nd and 10. Austin Reed with a career-high day, playing on the road at a Power 5 school. Pass is deflected.
There's potential to rush the quarterback here. It's been some hesitation from Indiana throughout the day today. J.H. Tevis getting that big mitt in the sky. Hassan McCullough in that joker position, preparing to rush the B gap. I love to move him around.
They bring a couple. Reed calls his own number. He's got wide open space right up the middle of the field. And a first down play, a gain of 19.
That kick out of bounds looming large for the Hoosiers.
Stops the clock at 29 seconds.
16 Reed spikes the ball.
Start the 40-second clock.
Narveson has kicked a 53-yarder a couple times in his career.
If you're a safety for Indiana on the field right now, make sure you pedal towards David Davis, number 7 at the bottom of your screen, the fastest player on the football field.
Western Kentucky trying to get to at least the 35. Contact is made, and there comes the flag. And Jalen Williams, likely the guilty party.
Pass interference. Defense, number 23. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
He's on the Biletnikoff watch list, and that speed he puts in the feet of defensive backs. Another blind attempt by Jalen Williams. He got away with it last time. But when you're in chase mode, pursuing a player with the speed of David Davis, it's important not to panic with the ball in flight.
Boy, penalties have been huge now for both teams on these final drives. Reed, a quick out. Chewing up some yardage, David Davis. And Brian Fitzgerald makes the play, a gain of 6.
40 total players on the Western Kentucky roster that are transfers. David Davis just one amongst that group. He joined up with this football team. It's been such a storyline for Indiana in their off season. A lot of the newness on their roster. That's where both these ball clubs have a very similar approach, schematically on both offense and defense. The offseason in assembling new talent.
Now it's about field position here for Western Kentucky. And they're going to leave it to the foot and the leg of Braden Narveson. Stops the clock with 4 seconds left to play.
16 Reed spikes the ball.
A On a 43-yard attempt. And the wind has shifted here in this second half in favor of Narveson. That's the direction that it's blowing.
Indiana with a timeout remaining, Lisa.
Officially 44 yards here for Narveson. He's been perfect so far today. But this one to win it.
Indiana calls their final timeout of the game.
And he'll have a few more seconds just to think about it, courtesy of Tom Allen.
But since Tom Allen always has resting coach voice, he's got to make sure he gets all the way in the ear of the official so that they hear him call timeout. Think about the position that Braden Narveson finds himself in right now. One of these transfers, formerly an Iowa State Cyclone, All-Conference USA last season. A player, LB, that had off-season surgery on both hips.
Yeah, can you believe that? For a kicker? For a kicker? Never beaten a Big Ten team. WKU as a football program. And a chance to do it here. Narveson from 44 out, he pushed it. He pushed it. Indiana has life.
This is the end of regulation.
Tied at 30, we go to overtime.
The Hoosiers thought there was a chance. This game was nearing cold crush depth. Tyson Helton wanted to pull off the same kind of upset his big brother did, but the Hoosiers are still rolling at the rock.
Overtime on the Big Ten Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official chicken wing of NCAA football. OT between Western Kentucky and Indiana is not done yet, Anthony Herron.
I mean, this game is remarkable, but did you say the official chicken wing of overtime?
What's that?
The official chicken wing of overtime. I didn't know we had one.
No, it said the official chicken wing of NCAA football.
Oh, of NCAA football, even better. Okay.
Yeah. We love ourselves some Buffalo Wild Wings.
Don't we?
Gentlemen, congratulations on a terrific and well-played 4 quarters of football. The fans here certainly have been treated to a great game regardless. Now we'll begin an overtime period. The winner of the toss shall have their option between offense, defense, or which end of the field. Beginning with the second overtime period, teams must attempt a 2-point conversion after a score. Beginning with the third and subsequent overtime periods, it will be a 2-point try from the 3-yard line. This is our same coin. That's tails, that's heads, heads, tails. Still the visitors. It's your toss to call still. What do you choose? He has chosen tails. Tails is the call. And it's heads. Indiana, you won the toss. Indiana would like to go on defense. Which end of the field? All right. Switch sides. Indiana's won the toss and will be on defense at the south end zone, 1st and 10.
Cam Jones is so good, he even wins the coin tosses for Indiana. For most of the country, for viewers on national providers, the start of the Wisconsin game will be available on a BTN Overflow channel if available, and of course on the Fox Sports app. For cable viewers in Wisconsin, they will be switched to the start of the Wisconsin game, and the IU game will finish on an Overflow channel on the Fox Sports app. Indiana outscored Western Kentucky 17-6, a big 4th quarter for the Hoosiers. And Western Kentucky again putting up points, 17th consecutive game with 30-plus points. If you weren't listening to Reggie Smith, let us review, shall we, the overtime rules. Still early in the football season. One possession each will start from the 25-yard line. The second overtime, a 2-point attempt is required after a touchdown. And then the third overtime and beyond, it'll be alternating 2-point conversion attempts.
Let's go.
Run play to begin this first overtime here for Western Kentucky. And Robichaud with his 100-yard rush game, stopped by Cam Jones.
And of course, the reason after winning the toss, the Hoosiers would prefer to be on defense first. You get the opportunity to see what the offense does with their possession, whether field goal, whether touchdown, whether nothing at all takes place, and you can factor that in to your offensive strategy.
Reed another pump fake, and he goes down. Noah Pierre, the big sack. And maybe a fumble. Hold on.
And from this field position, this is where the Indiana defense and Tom Allen have been more and more aggressive, and their best pass rusher throughout the day has been the Husky Noah Pierre. Still see Hoosiers looking to the sideline. The Toppers are about to snap the football.
Play clock's at 3. They got to call the timeout. That's their final one.
So because each of the overtime drives will start near the confines of the red zone, not in the red zone, but close enough to it, this is the area of the field where we've seen Chad Wilt, Tom Allen, they've been more comfortable dialing up additional pressure. So the standard 3, 4, 5-man pressure with the guys with their hands in the dirt near the line of scrimmage haven't gotten home consistently, but the blitz from the Hoosiers has been effective.
Last 5 drives for WKU. An interception, a field goal, a fumble, a field goal, and a missed field goal. Going into this 3rd and 14. Indiana bringing it. Reed gets rid of it, and a tackle. Tywan Mullen makes a big one. Brings up 4th down.
There had never been a first-team All-American corner in the history of Hoosiers football until Tywan Mullen just a couple of seasons ago. One of their great playmakers, the defensive history of this program, came up huge with a one-on-one tackle.
Narveson will now attempt a 39-yarder. He missed a 44-yarder to win it. Blocked! It is blocked by Indiana. Taking it down the sideline. Hoosiers! My goodness! Brian Fitzgerald taking it back. Jalen Williams, I think, was the player who got the piece.
So many elements of this ball game have gone the way of the Toppers. Rushing the edge, you don't even anticipate the layout to mean much, but Jalen Williams puts his body on the line for his teammates, going full extension.
Now he's saying run.
If he would have been able to get that into the end zone,
that would have been ball game.
Could have closed the show right there.
That would have been something.
How aggressive will the Hoosiers be offensively?
Well, there's a run play for no gain.
Got to be decisive, Lisa. That looked kind of apprehensive between Connor Bazelak and Sean Shivers. Read it at the mesh point just like you have at every other moment this game. You can't treat this read any different than the others.
A loss of 4. And you can't be too conservative, right?
I don't mind running the football, but you know the defense is going to be crashing the edge. Bazelak will have an opportunity to keep it.
Indiana can win it with a field goal or a touchdown. Play clock's at 3. Just got it away. Bazelak goes down. Broderick Martin with the sack.
Similar to the way I described Indiana's defensive series. This area of the field, you don't necessarily have a lot of contested grab guys to worry about that have been featured and shown themselves for Indiana. So the aggression, now the Toppers defense playing downhill at the Hoosiers. IU going back to a balanced set. They'd had more success going 3-by-1.
2 receivers on each side and brought down. What a stance here by the Hilltoppers D. Derek Smith making the play. A chance for Charles Campbell.
He was the MVP of this same matchup last season.
A 51-yard attempt to win it. Campbell, kick is up. Kick is good. Indiana wins it.
Yet another comeback for IU.
Charles Campbell off the foot of 93 for the Hoosiers to win it and breathe a sigh of relief. The final 33-30 here from Bloomington. Coming up next, Badgers against New Mexico State. Anthony Herod, Crystal Rich, I'm Lisa Byington, our producer Glenn Harris, our director Billy Proctor. Let's send it to Brandon Gaudin, Joshua Perry, Rick Pizzo in Madison.